Hello, listening people.
Hi.
Oh, hello there. How are you?
Good. It's good. I was.
You were very aggressive, straight off the bat.
It's a foreshadowing. I know it's very early in the episode, but I'm foreshadowing already.
Wow, what are you, fucking Game of Thrones? I mean, geez,
watched
you're gonna set up this, hey! 4 seasons earlier, and then it will
Look,
pay off. Then it will pay off when your character dies and you just say as your final lines, hey, death, and then you die.
I was originally gonna go, huh, but I had to
I'm
say
Ryan
hi.
Sliwinski, by the way.
And I'm Bartek.
Bartek?
Bartek Kasprzyszak. I said
Oh my
last
god, you
name,
actually
but-
said it.
Oh no.
We are both spin Polish, likingly, because we are always spitting, and yes, we both happen to be Polish, if you listened right there to the names. Very Polish.
It was a very Polish sound I made to begin the episode.
What, hi? yeah, when I think Poland, I think guttural noises, yeah, like Klingon.
Yes.
So, we are doing a show called Unappreciated Masterpieces, and what do we do on Unappreciated Masterpieces for those not in the know? Well, good question, me, that I asked to you.
To me?
Yeah,
To you?
sure. We ask ourselves at night, why am I listening?
Because you asked a question, then you answered it, then you made it sound like I asked it. So I'm
No,
like,
it's talking to
what?
the audience.
Oh.
Not everything's about you, Bartek.
I thought you were
Jeez
making everything about
Louise.
you.
It's all about me, yes! Jeez. So, what we do on Unappreciated Masterpieces is we find those movies, those rare gems, those, you know, in like old-fashioned arcade games, there was like secret levels that just look like the same level but painted green.
Yeah.
We find those green movies and we show them to the world and we talk about them in depth. These aren't the movies that are the most hated, but they're not the most beloved. They're movies that deserve more recognition. They deserve more love. They deserve a higher rating. They deserve a proper discussion because for whatever reason, at the time of the release of the film and even after, it just never got that love. And we are all about love.
Society just isn't good at games.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't get to the bonus levels.
Well, they like playing a game, and that game
Like, I'm not gonna
is
collect
being mean.
I'm
And
not
I-
gonna collect 3 Cortex tokens. It's too hard.
Yeah, no, but like they like playing the game of being mean, and I hate meanies. I hate them.
Give them credit though, Ryan. They are good at it.
What, being meanies?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're damn right they are, and that's what infuriates me the most.
So if you had to give being meanies a rating,
If I had to give being meanies a rating, I'd give it a 5 out of meanie. So,
not as good as Bonk's Adventure.
Bartek,
Yes.
I'm Ryan. You're Bartek.
Yes.
And we cover movies on this show.
Mm-hmm.
We have to cover a movie on this show. I don't know what movie we're covering.
Not a game?
No, we're not gamers.
Oh, shit.
We're not doing Unappreciated Games, which is, of course, Tumbi 2, a game in which you have to fight evil pigs. Great game. Check it out.
Is that
5
the,
stars.
Is that the one I watched you play?
You can watch me play any kind of game if you know where I
Like
live.
the pigs at war or something?
No, that was Hogs of War.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Fun fact, I grew up on a lot of pig-related games. Fun fact, I grew up on a lot of pig-related games, I guess. You know, Tumbi 2. Fun fact, I didn't have Tumbi 1. Guess it's the same game to me, you know, it could be the same game. But we're not covering Tumbi 2.
We're not.
We're covering what, Bartek?
Guys, today we are covering Odkrycie Profesora Krippendorfa.
What? You want to say that again? I nearly had it there.
Yeah. You,
I
just
knew-
you missed the second half.
Yeah, give me the first
It's
half.
Odkrycie Profesora Krippendorfa.
Oh, wait, are you speaking Polish right now?
Yeah.
Holy
Spin
crap.
Polish. Not spin
Bartek,
English.
this is the really awkward part of the show that we do every single time for the last 84 episodes, and it's never changed. I don't speak Polish. I mean, sometimes it's changed. Sometimes I say I do, but I don't actually do speak Polish. That's the weakness of my genetics.
What?
Is I don't know how to speak Polish. It's like if Harry Potter didn't know how to speak parcel tongue.
But
That's me right now.
I thought this was episode 84.
Far out.
Oh, see, because you thought I was worried about me making
But
mistakes.
could you hit me again with that title? I think I'm going to give it a guess.
It's 3 words, Ryan. Odkrycie Profesora Krippendorfa.
Tumbi 2? But that's a game, Bartek. We're not covering Tumbi 2.
Oh, maybe another hint. It's from 1998.
Oh my god, is it Krippendorf's Tribe?
I
With
mean,
Richard
yes.
Dreyfuss?
If I
I
were-
love Dick Dreyfuss.
Yes, the Polish title translates to the discovery of, discovery by Professor Krippendorf.
Well, that's actually a good title. That's actually a good title because he discovered something in the movie like we discovered something. Before we started this episode, Bartek and I took an expedition down the road. We thought we're gonna have to find someone or something to join us on this episode of the show.
Is it a gamer?
No, Tumby too couldn't join us.
Okay, I said gamer, not game.
Hey, Tumby's a person, and there's two of him.
Oh, jeez.
No, there's only one of Tumby in the game.
Why is it called Tumby 2?
Because it's a sequel to Tumby 1. All that's up. No, the person that we are fortunate enough to have dug up from the soil is that of Ace Buchanan.
Hi, thank you for digging me up, this old dirty boy. I tapped out about 10 times during that, so thanks for stopping.
Tapped out?
Yeah.
Now tap in.
You're not so good, look at this.
Touching the mic. 101 rule of not doing podcasts.
I'm a wild card.
Actually, Ryan, it's a rule of doing podcasts.
Yeah,
if you're not doing it, you can touch it.
Like, I just touched you all over with my fingers. If you're hearing that on headphones, that's me touching your eardrums.
The only time we've legitimately had to touch it is like when we did Pootie Tang.
The only time you have to touch something is when Pootie Tang's involved. But we're not covering Pootie Tang.
We've already done that.
We're not covering the Louis C.K. written black exploitation comedy Pootie Tang. No, we're doing the classic Richard Dreyfuss, Jenna Elfman, and yes, Stephen Root does appear in this movie. Ooh. This is his third appearance on the show. Mm-hmm. Second time as a school administrator. So
of an educational facility, yes.
Yeah, well, that's why I said school. Schools are educational.
Yeah, I know, but university, high school, it's
a school, isn't
it? I know.
It's a school of life.
You're always learning, Bartek.
Like, Bartek, if he was in charge of a vocational college, I would give you that. That's not a school, that's just a skill.
I'm just saying educational facility being the super general thing.
Well, okay, Bartek. You're the super general. Do you want to super general the audience and tell them how you're gonna do a countdown for them to line up their legal copy of this film? Because I imagine everyone in the world has a legal copy of Krippendorf's Tribe ready. I mean, it's so easy to access. That's the one thing I have to say about this movie.
When you search it on Netflix, it doesn't show up, but it's in one of the suggested
searches. It's like if you like Krippendorf, you would like this. You know, that's how good it is. Mwah! Bartek, do us an amazing countdown. So you guys, as I said, Bartek's going to explain it, but fuck him, he's taking too long. You're going to get a copy ready. He's going to do a countdown. When he says play, you press play, so you're synced up with us. You can enjoy the visual majesty of Natasha Lyonne in this movie, who is almost as good as she is in I'm a Cheerleader. But, you know, that's a different movie for a different day. Bartek, give them some emotional countdowning.
All right, everyone. We're in this for the long run, so let's just get right into it with 50, 49, 48, 20,
I knew he was going to
13, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
Yes! We did that perfectly. That was a joint effort. Hey, this is a Touchstone Pictures, which means Walt Disney was involved in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
but he wanted to swear, so you know.
So he wanted, you know, people to know that he made a movie from beyond the grave, and he said, "Get Richard Dreyfuss on the phone now."
And don't call it Disney, call it Touchstone Pictures.
Yeah, make it my touchstone, you know? And that's where it started. Now, guys, this is a film from 1998. It's a comedy, which means something very important.
Tee-hee-hee.
Yes, tee-hee-hees were involved. But not just any normal tee-hee-hees, written tee-hee-hees. If you've been listening to the show ever before, I've noted this down many times. Modern day comedies do not have scripts so much, more like, hey, Will Ferrell's a dad. And Mark Wahlberg's the other dad.
And Seth Rogen laughs.
And Seth Rogen smokes pot. And there you got a movie. And that movie's called Daddy's Back. You know, like, How good with John Cena. You know, there you go. You got a meme, you know, right there. But this is a movie where someone wrote a script. And that someone was brave enough to send that script to a studio. Why are you laughing at? Well, I know it's a comedy. That's the exact answer. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, I'm just watching this. It's so hilarious. Oh god, it's funny. Oh wow.
It is funny. Don't you love cameras? I
love cameras.
I love cameras as much as I love tribal people. And that's a lot. That's a lot. You know, that's a fair amount of love for the tribes.
And for cameras.
Well, I like taking photos of tribal people on my tribal camera. You know, that's exactly what I'm trying to specify here for everyone involved at home. So, Bartek.
Yep.
You've seen this movie now.
Oh, I have.
Have you had seen it before I suggested doing it for the podcast? Have you even heard of Krippendorf and his amazing tribe?
I had not heard of this until you told me what we were doing for the show.
Could you tell the audience what you did think the movie was going to be? Because you told me and I was happy.
Yeah, so based on the title alone...
Krippendorf's tribe.
You know, so I was just analysing those two words, what thoughts they gave me. I thought that it would be some sort of, like, European fantasy film, almost like a folk story based kind of thing. You know, like there's a tribe of like, I don't know, a certain, you know, group of people, and they might have a certain culture about them that the film will revolve around.
And that's kind of true.
And then, you know, I was like, before I watched the film, I'm like, oh, who's in the film? And I saw all these names. I'm like, these people are white. And it's set in the 1990s, so maybe not.
And before I watched the film, I looked up and they were white. Like the biggest discovery of a Hollywood film ever. Like, did you know I went to a Blockbuster recently and I was shocked to find out that
Ryan,
all of the Marvel people are white.
Well, Ryan, I didn't know it was an American film.
You're right. There's the one with the eye patch. That's about it.
Black Panther. I mean, Black Panther's gonna.
He's been in one movie.
They're making a Black Panther.
I know,
movie.
but it isn't out right now, is it?
Hold on, Ryan.
Am I going down the cinema? This would be really timely podcast when people have listened to this after the 4th Black Panther movie's come out. It's like, yes, Ryan, it is out. You
this
fucking
isn't gonna
idiot.
age well.
I'm watching Captain Marvel right now. Yay! It took 4 superhero women from Marvel to get one eventually, but yay!
Yes.
So 2 things from what I just said there. 1, I didn't know it was American, so that's why. And 2, I was surprised they were white, even though I said I thought it was a European thing.
Were you expecting this movie to be the film Just Visiting, but with more tribal people instead of French people?
No,
So
I didn't think it was set in the modern day.
No, but that film had a portion of it not set in the modern day.
But this film's 100% in the modern day.
I know that, Bartek. We're talking about what you thought going in.
Yeah, and I'm saying no, I didn't.
There you go. Ace, that's the answer. What about you, Ace? Did you hear of this movie before having been asked to come on the show? Did you see it before?
No, I still haven't seen it. I did what any good podcast guest does and just read the synopsis.
Yeah, just
on
fucked
Google.
about, yeah.
When you first sent it to me, I thought it might be like a camp movie, like Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah, like Fred's Camp.
Yeah.
Like Fred 3.
Krippendorf's Camp.
Why do you be like? I get why Bartek thought like a fantasy thing because tribe, but you got
another thing because his name his name ends with Dorf, so I was thinking like, oh, Ganondorf, you know.
Oh, not just German.
It's just fan fiction, just Zelda fan fiction.
Yeah, obviously German as well, but Germany's in Europe.
You know, I'm very happy they got the very famous German actor Richard Dreyfuss for Krippendorf. He was very good. Well, here's the big question, guys, for myself. Have I seen the movie before?
Ryan, have you seen the film before?
Have you seen the film before, Ryan?
I grew up on this film. My parents, I've explained this on the podcast before. I don't know if this applies to anyone listening or to you, Ace. When DVDs first came to be as a thing, it was a very slow transition, I would say, surprisingly, for DVDs to be fully taking over the market. Like,
that's why we were so scared. It's witchcraft. What
yeah,
are the small laser discs?
I listen to CDs, not watch them. And my parents were fully on board, so they got every single movie that they've seen or heard of before on DVD and just went, yeah, we can get them on DVD now. Like, hey, we didn't see Stop or My Mama Will Shoot at the cinema. We'll get it on DVD. Like, they got every kind of movie, and this was one of them. And this was one that they'd never seen before, but they wanted to because they like Richard Dreyfuss. Because everyone loves Richard Dreyfuss. I mean, he's arguably one of the best parts of Jaws, you know, outside of, you know, Quint. But Quint don't work without Dreyfuss. That's right.
That's true. He's also in the Killer's Christmas videos.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
Is he their dad?
He's Santa.
So he's Father Christmas.
He's a grumpy Santa, I imagine.
And now he's like the best camp counselor in the whole Krippendorf tribe.
And I grew up with this movie, and I absolutely adore this movie. I love the sentiment behind it and how risque it gets as well. And I love the multiple storylines that go on at the same time. It's very well constructed. So this movie, for those who haven't seen it, you're like, what's it about, Ryan? That's a good question. It's about a guy called James Krippendorf, who's an anthropologist who's got a family, a single dad, wife just died, he's been distressed, and he didn't use any of his grant money to find this lost tribe that they were supposed to find in New Guinea. So he just basically makes up a lost tribe on the spot, and he names the tribe the Shalmikidmu after the names of his children combined together. And then it just goes off from there. It's a movie about deceit in a comical fashion. It's a movie in which
he's basically forced to put a lie upon a lie.
Exactly. Other people, and it's not like he necessarily goes out being like, I want to lie. He approaches the dean, and the dean, I can't wait to talk about that soon. We'll get to that. But this is a colourful cast of characters. We have Jenna Elfman here, who's everyone's favourite in Dharma and Greg. And she does an amazing job here. Her character is a strong, independent woman who wants to financially profit off and become famous off of someone else's research that he did not in fact do. That's foreshadowing to one of the reviews later, by the way. This is a film where Lily Tomlin, the great, amazing comedic actress Lily Tomlin, has a monkey and it farts.
Excellent. That's two things I love.
And she drags a poor woman with her to New Guinea to discover if this tribe's real or not because of her dare.
We should probably point out Lily Tomlin is the rival character.
And
who's a bit jelly.
Yeah, Bartek, I can't wait for you to describe her to Ace.
The way I describe
Yeah. It took me a little while because, we'll get there. So, Ace, this movie relies on faxes a lot.
Oh, good.
Like, this movie hinges on faxes. If he read that fax, he could have got prepared, but he didn't. That's called the inciting incident in a script. In Act 1, there's the inciting incident, and this is it. Him not having read the fax.
It's happening right
and that's
in front of me.
launching it. Aren't you surprised?
I am.
And later on in Act 3, at the height of the conflict and resolution, a fax is there waiting. It's such a setup and a payoff. It's beautiful. So I grew up with this film. I may be biased in saying I think it's a great film. Am I biased in saying it's a great film, Bartek?
You are, but Ryan, it is a great film. And I did not grow up with it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it came back to life.
Little animal baby.
No, it's not a baby. It's a very old hamster.
And now he tries to kill it.
It's a hamster.
If it's little, it's a baby.
Everything that's little is a baby.
Yeah.
Hear that, men with small penises?
No baby.
You got baby dicks.
So Ryan, this sequence right here is established.
You stated that's the logic.
No.
This sequence right here is establishing that he is a sociopath and he will be killing animals throughout the film.
Man, I can't wait for him to kill animals later.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to him killing animals.
Yeah.
Now, the children, Bartek.
Yeah.
There's children in this movie, and we've encountered a lot of child actors throughout the entirety of our show. Some who are now famous, Kristen Stewart, which one is it? I keep forgetting with her.
What film was she in that we've done?
Catch That Kid.
Catch That Kid.
In which she caught a kid.
Of course, that's right. I forgot which one she was.
Frankie Muniz.
She was in that sparkly vampire film.
She was also in Zathura, yeah, she was in Zathura. She was in Zathura, yeah. So we have some amazing child actors here, and I love that Natasha Lyonne, who's the eldest child, the sister.
The girl.
She's obviously famous now for being Nikki in the TV show Orange is the New Black.
Okay.
And most prominent role film-wise would most likely be that of her small, tiny role in American Pie as the chick who's had sex before.
So the pie.
No, the America.
America.
Oh,
yeah,
he is
mind
Lily.
that strawberry. She loves
He is
that
Lily.
strawberry.
Everyone, this is a comedic actress of the ages. She was in 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton, and she somehow was better than Dolly. I know, I'm surprised too.
She's better at eating strawberries.
The monkey.
monkeys. Yeah.
The monkey. So, Bartek,
Yes.
what Lily Tomlin's in this movie as his rival, Ruth Allen.
Yes.
Who does she remind you of?
Well, I noted that she looks a lot like an animated character that she voiced that also had a...
Wait, did she voice that character too?
Yeah, that's why I said
Holy
it.
shit, I didn't know that.
Again, that character also has an animal that follows it around.
Oh
so
no, what's that character?
It's Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus.
I didn't know that because this is the funny thing. Bartek said to me the other day, "Hey, Lily Tomlin looks like Miss Frizzle."
Yesterday, yeah.
And I said, oh, okay, cool, excellent. I didn't know who Miss Frizzle was. I assumed like one of the Mr. Men characters. So I googled Miss Frizzle, and then it was like, oh, the chick from the Magic School Bus. Because to be honest, this is my only childhood memory of a Magic School Bus. My parents had it on TV once, and I remember I didn't care for it. I just didn't like it. I didn't know. And my parents went, not liking it? Alright, let's chuck on a video. And they chucked on a video of a recorded episode of South Park. And it was an episode of South Park in which, one of the first few seasons where they're on a school bus being killed by an evil monster
that one,
outside.
the flashback episode.
And they're all just flashbacks, but every single
I love that
incident ends
episode.
with them eating ice cream.
Yeah.
That was my childhood memory of the Magic School Bus.
episode.
I didn't know that she was the voice of her. Really?
Yeah.
Far out. That's why she dressed up. She cosplayed as her own character. They nailed it.
Well, it's got like the...
Did she have a monkey?
No, she had a lizard.
No, she had children. They were the real animals.
She had a lot of lizard motif going on, like frill-necked lizard, frizzle.
Frizzled.
I think the lizard's name was Liz.
Lemon. So, Ace. You didn't watch the movie.
I didn't watch the movie, no.
You read the synopsis.
I did.
Were you impressed by the synopsis?
Look, I'm not going to say that this is Richard Dreyfuss' magnum opus.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just not going to say it. That wouldn't be true.
You're just implying it.
No, we were old children that were born in the 90s and grew up partially in the 90s. Looking back at the 90s.
Hashtag 90s kid.
Yeah. Looking back in the 90s, do we wish that we had more of Natasha Lyonne's style? You know, with the like the hair like parted in the middle, but it's tied up and like, you know, the nice necklace thing. I miss necklaces. Like, why don't people wear them anymore?
I'm fairly certain that a large portion of the population still wears necklaces.
We're just too fat to wear them now. We got no necks to put a piece of lace on it.
That's fine.
No, do we miss the 90s at all from what we remember of it? Because there's always that thing of now it's like people are recollecting on the 80s so much in media, and obviously we didn't grow up in the 80s, but then there's that thing of only 90s kids or whatever. It's like, man, I grew up in the 90s, but like I don't remember much of it. It's kind of just
Honestly,
a blur.
It wasn't until I would say 2000 to 2001 where I could comfortably have English as my primary language. So the 90s is a period that's just
Suspicious
long
that
time
he
ago
learned
for
it
me.
after 9/11. Weird.
Whoa.
Whoa, truth. You didn't want to come across as a terrorist.
Gee.
They were
I
like,
remember
did
there
you speak English when that happened? Papa, no.
I remember there was a part in grade 1 where I said the word initiative and the teacher was really happy.
Did you know what I meant?
It was weird that he said it in that kind of like, what context were you saying
He
it
just
in?
said it. She's like, oh, wow.
She was...
What's your take on it? Initiative. And then sits down. It's like weird. We were talking about 9/11
Yeah.
and the terrorists
She was just
still,
calling
and you're
them
like,
all.
they took initiative.
No, she was like, I think she was telling some kid like, oh, this is how you have to like do your work, you know, you have to try. And I think I overheard it and I'm like, use initiative.
That's
So
exactly
you're
how I said it.
eavesdropping. Little baby Bartek just eavesdropping.
I think I was waiting in line to like talk to her, so I was
That's no
behind.
excuse. That was not your conversation to jump in with initiative.
I don't know what words you...
Excuse me, there's
I don't
nothing
speak English.
sexier than a creepy little ginger kid that doesn't speak. Look at those eyes.
Yeah, that was me in the 90s, so...
Yeah, that's it. So,
You know that, right?
well, I mean, look at Ace. I mean, you could 1 + 1 = 2, Bartek. I mean, you know, not helpful for the audio listeners out there, but the visual listeners who look through my window with binoculars and masturbate, you know what I'm talking about.
And it's really weird because your blinds are up.
Yeah, but they
It's
know how
like
to.
blinds.
They got heat vision X-ray goggles.
It's a weird Twilight Zone kind of thing where it's also us outside.
It's a weird Twilight episode where we are the blinds. You know, like that's how it ends.
And this is the part where they're like, "Oh, look, this is the part where he says we are the blinds."
We are the Krippendorf tribe.
And then, this is the part where he says we are the blind, and then you zoom, you see that being said from over the shoulder behind of the guy saying it. The camera goes across his shoulders, pans around and goes to the front, and is a blind man.
then
What a twist.
Then even further back, there's another version of us like, "Oh, there's us acknowledging the episode."
This scene here really reminded me where he's about to speak to a bunch of dissatisfied people. He also said, "Good evening, gentlemen." Half of them are women.
Hey, we don't know that.
Oh, I thought only one.
I just looked at them.
That doesn't mean anything.
You're right. No one's anything.
No one is anything.
This-
It's
in
all
fact-
about Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah,
And
there's
Jenna
only one.
Elfman.
I guess.
Dude, did you read this? Did the synopsis include the lovely sex scene that we're gonna get in this kids movie?
It didn't.
Oh boy,
That's something I'll look forward
boy,
to.
boy, oh boy.
It's a very tribal one.
Now, is Mila Kunis in this, or did
Oh, we don't want to get too much into how Mila Kunis is in this movie, but boy is she in this movie. Now,
Cheers.
can we talk about this gentleman here,
Also,
Steven?
this is the year that Sony show started, so that's
Yeah.
reference for what kind of Mila Kunis.
So, this is Stephen Root. For a bit of info for some people who haven't solidly listened, Stephen Root is an amazing character actor. He's the voice of Mr. Dotrieve in King of the Hill. He's Mr. Dotrieve. And he's also, most prominent TV role is the boss in News Radio. And he's in a lot of stuff, but he was in an episode of this show.
two.
I'm giving the backstory.
specific?
He was in an episode of this show called Over Her Dead Body, in which Eva Longoria died. Mm-hmm. And he killed her, accidentally, kinda. And Bartek was like, yeah, whatever.
I wanna give my
this
side.
pathetic fat guy. And then went on a 15-minute monologue about one actress who appeared in one scene who was a voice actress in a Final Fantasy game. And I was like, hold on a sec. Stephen Root's a fucking acting treasure. He's great.
And this is where I would like to point out that Ryan loves Stephen Root so much, he chose to take my word as insulting the actor, not the character.
Yeah, but his character wasn't even a pathetic fat guy. That was the best part.
He was
Now-
a pathetic fat guy.
Listen to
Something bad he was.
play it back. And then he's
character
appeared in Drillbit Taylor as a high school principal with no moral values, and here he is today as a dean with strict moral values. The best part about this character is he's a realistic kind of dude. So in a lot of films, when you see the stuffy old dean, they always play it like one or two notes. They're always like, I'm the dean, and I'm all about the rules. Or like they're like, they're a bit more like, I'm the dean, I'm relaxed.
Yeah, like The Simpsons.
Exactly. This guy, Stephen Root, in a movie that he's not in very much, he manages to channel so much raw energy into his performance. He can be threatening, he can be menacing, he can be he can be joyful, he can be foolish. He's got so much range in what is a one-dimensional character, like not even 2 dimensions. But he brings 3, maybe even 4.
Whoa. So you get wet in the front seat.
I'm wet right now.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I'm wet right now.
Strike
And I
4D.
just wanted to say, like, that sequence that we just saw in which Richard Dreyfuss wanted to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Stephen
To his
Root...
20 years old friend.
Yeah. Stephen Root...
Friend for 20 years, not that he's 20.
I actually was looking at you like, why is he 20 years... I mean, Stephen Root's A, not a pathetic fat guy, and B, not 20 years
Again, I was
old.
talking about his character in Over Her Dead
I
Body,
mean,
not the
yet
actor.
again, I don't know how old he is. What happens if he is only like 28?
Well, this is this is our earliest look at him on this show. He definitely looks
And he's one of those
younger.
actors who basically look, to be honest, he actually always looks the same. They just give him different hairstyles and it dramatically changes everything.
You know, right, in the sequence order that we've done, we've only been going backwards.
Oh my god, we're gonna get to him.
And each one was from a different decade.
We're gonna get to the point in when we're looking
need
at his
an 80s one.
ultrasound.
We need an 80s Stephen Root film next time.
We're gonna look at his ultrasound and be like, man, he gives such an in-depth performance in his mother's womb. And then
Sperm.
And then we're going to go back to the genitals of his father. And then from there, we're going to go to the primordial ooze. And there's no going
You
back.
could almost say, Ryan, that we'll go to the root.
Yeah.
Steven Root.
That was a joke there. No need to size
Correction,
so
it
hard.
was a clever joke.
Correction, it was wit. That was wit.
A witty
Oh,
joke.
okay. All right.
Now, this is an important scene, Ace.
Okay.
You've probably read about this scene a lot.
I have in my dream journals.
Well, this is kind of like
This
the
is what I dream about.
second... What was that term you used about the facts? Ryan?
Inciting incident.
Yeah, the second one, because this is where the initial lie is told.
This is where it begins. He decides, because Ruth Allen, amazing name, by the way. I love people with two names as a name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people have true names.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like Dick James. You know what I mean? Like people with two first names as names.
It's not too common with Polish people, I guess.
Yeah, like, you know, we can't have the luxury of being called Ruth Allen in this world. You know what I mean? And what a great name for Ruth Allen, because she really does look like the type of person, and has the name of a type of person, a woman who would have a monkey in a university. Like she's a real Jane Goodall type, yeah?
I guess, like, the name Ruth starts with an R. It's like Red and Allen. You know,
Let's
Tim
read
Allen
the
was in-
in-depth meaning into Ruth Allen's name.
And Allen, it's like Tim Allen. Wasn't he in a film called, like,
Jungle to Jungle, which was a competitor for this film, actually.
Did
So
that have a monkey in it?
no, but it had racism, and so does this
There we
film
go.
in spades. And maybe that's why this film isn't getting the love. We haven't talked about that. Why have people not heard of this movie? Why has Bartek not heard of it? Why has
Yeah.
Ace? Why am I the only fortunate soul to have heard of it? You know, why am I
Well, if we...
the opposite of Ursula's song?
Well,
Right,
Ryan,
hearing this.
if we look at this...
Disney reference, by the way.
If we look at this
Here we go. Walled again.
If we look at this in depth, the inciting incident for you is your parents.
You're right. We have to go back to how my parents got born and work
And how
out
that led to them buying the DVD of
and work,
Krippendorf Strike.
and then work our way forward. You know those documentaries like Making a Murderer, and they go like all the way back and work their way, like they give you the nugget of what's happened now and then go all the way back, and then throughout the whole entire time of the documentaries they go back and forth at different times to kind of make you go like, ooh.
Could this
That's what we have to
incident
do
have-
about the Krippendorf's tribe incident. Making a tribe is what this documentary should be called, and it would just be about how my parents wanted to watch this movie. And it would end with my mum just working at Big W. And then it's like the next 20 years roll by, and then she's like, oh my god, there's a DVD here called Krippendorf's Tribe. I'm going to get that for $8. And then that's the end. Like, Finn comes up on the screen.
And Ryan... No. They're just like, oh, we'll get this, and Ryan will watch it. End.
Finn. And then
Oh, yeah, Finn, sorry.
No, and then my dad will go, maybe one day he'll meet another Polish man. And then it cuts to your parents. Because we have to figure out how we united on this. And then it cuts to like, and we need a guest for the show. It goes to Ace's parents and Ace's whole entire journey. This is an 18-part miniseries where the episodes are 2 hours long each. In which we get into the balls of the movie and the balls of us all alive.
And throughout the whole journey, you'll realise why only Ryan had heard of it out of the three of us.
And it's just because my mum worked at Big W. And when we present the order of the episodes in a weird manner, so like Ace is first, and then me, and then you, and then your parents, and then Ace's parents, and mine is last.
Yep.
So that way, that at least makes sense. So you can have with my dad being like, he needs to find someone, and then like it cuts to like a childhood photo of Bartek smiling, and then Finn comes up.
And then they give like 10 seconds in one episode talking about like the actors in the film and stuff like that.
yeah. Richard Dreyfuss said in a tweet that he had a lot of fun making this movie. No, he had a lot of fun working with Jenna Elfman in this movie. Too bad the movie was crap. That's one of the 2 pieces of trivia on IMDb about this movie, Ace, in case you wanted to know. This is a movie that has 2 pieces of trivia, and the other piece of trivia, Bartek, is...
Let's see if I can remember it.
I'm
That's the one that I had on my mind. The other one, though...
I've been thinking about it all day.
He thought about it all. It was what his Friday on his mind was all about.
I do like how one of the trivia points about it was related to a website that didn't exist at the time the film came out, though. Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. No, the other piece was one of the African tribe member guys' last movie. It was his last movie.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was like guy who goes by like Zoke Smokes last movie, and I'm like, who's this? Found out the guy just retired and just died in 2011. I thought like, oh, he died. Who was this? There's old people in this movie. Surely it was one of them.
I don't remember that at all. Well, I'll take your
You know,
word for it, though.
you know what they say about Bartek? Bad boy Bartek doesn't do research.
That's been on my mind all day.
All day.
So, Ace.
Yes.
This film is about duplicity.
Okay.
And in our current time and landscape of comedies, movies, shows, with a more socio-political world, a comedy like this that involves blackface and a cultural appropriation and, oh boy, an interesting sex scene, may not fly in this day and age. Do you think that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing?
I think you can get in a lot of trouble if you start thinking, oh, I know it's a different time. It still doesn't make it okay. I feel like it definitely, we haven't heard of it, except you, because pretty progressive now. This kind of thing isn't really that
This
popular.
film's pretty progressive?
No. Nowadays, a lot of things are more progressive. So you have a blackface movie and you're like, dear God, why?
Yep.
I mean, I hadn't heard about it because like it's super racist and I come from Traralgon and like there was enough of that already. So I'd had my fill.
Wouldn't this be on at the local cinema on repeat?
No, this is a live action every day.
Well, in all fairness, is like the great TV show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia discussed this, which is there ever an appropriate time to use blackface in a film or art? Because in context of the movie, it is somewhat appropriate because he's pretending to be the king of the tribe to enforce his lie even more. In terms of it, it is saying this guy is morally bankrupt and terrible, but he doesn't mean to be.
I think it's all about how you portray it too. I mean, if they're doing blackface and he's being culturally appropriate, but everyone, like, he's an asshole, then it's like, okay, well, only assholes do this.
What about Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder?
Oh, he needs a smack, doesn't he?
Did you not like his blackface? He got an Oscar nomination for that.
Didn't this make it to the Oscar noms?
No.
Google has lied to me.
This, hint, the Oscar nom conversation, that's going to play into one of the reviews later. And, okay, what about you, Bartek? What's your think on that?
What's
on
your
the progressive, what's your deal?
What's my deal? I
Generic.
just think that people shouldn't work in absolutes. Like, don't say
Like the
this-
Sith.
Yeah, only the Sith deal in absolutes, Ryan. That's an absolute statement.
Oh my god, that means
So Obi-Wan
the
is...
spin-off Obi-Wan Kenobi movie is going to be revealed that he was a Sith all along and he trained Luke to fail in The Force Awakens, so that way everything ties
absolutely
together.
a Jedi.
I nailed... Oh, here it is. Children. But hey, they're also in tribal war paint.
There's like 2 levels of like there's blackface and then there's tribal paint on top of the blackface.
What about whiteface? Is that okay? Is white chicks okay?
I haven't seen White Chicks and I don't...
White Chicks is a fucking masterpiece. I would want to cover it on this show, but it is so good. Like it is too... Like, Terry Crews is the best.
It's definitely, I feel like lampshading is a problem. Like, oh, we're doing something problematic. Look, we're pointing it out, but we're not making any, like, comments on it or anything
Well,
like
fun
that.
fact, they never point it out, so they don't lampshade in this
So
movie.
what about...
And no, the only point they get to the discussion of this being wrong is Natasha Lyonne complains that the red dye out of her hair won't come out. Like, in terms of the face painting and all that, no one complains. So, no lampshading there, right? So, that's good.
What if there was a film that was about blackface? Would it be kind of awkward not to have blackface in it?
Well, no,
at
you
some
gotta
point?
have blackface if you're making it. What would that film be?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't work in absolutes.
Starring Marlon Wayans in blackface. And it's like he's wearing a white face throughout the movie and every white guy's wearing blackface. And it's like, what if
It's like a very good saying. It's very common, but, people don't say it too often. Have your wits about you.
That's exactly what they wrote as the, synopsis of this movie.
Yeah, that's the tagline.
It's probably from the Bible. I don't know.
Fuck it. I don't know. I don't read. I watch Natasha Lyonne in blackface. I mean, in all fairness, though,
Would you read the
it's not really a surprise to see Natasha Lyonne in blackface, is it? I mean, she's always been one of those actresses that would just do shocking things, and she gets away with it because she's just got that voice.
What if you're an albino, but you are African?
Well, that also applies to Klingons. In Star
Yeah, let's liken a very real thing.
Well,
Because have you ever noticed that Klingons are never white people? They're always brown, and Christopher Lloyd played one. Is that blackface as well, Klingons? Because they're painted up to look like Mongolian / black, and they get black people.
Would Chewbacca be blackface?
No, he's brown.
Okay.
Look, I think that there are definitely themes that are triggering that you can still handle. It's just about the way you handle it.
I'm handling it right now. I'm handling this movie's tone, its brilliance, the fact that the copy I'm watching is currently refreshing itself because Google Play, 5 out of 5. I'll tell the audience when it comes back what time we're up to. Oh boy, it's shut down. Yay. This is...
Oh boy.
So, the movie's going to go into a detour for a second, or will it? We'll never know.
Yeah.
Bartek?
We'll know, very soon.
Well, no. We're talking about blackface and how yummy and bad and good it is.
We're in a... Oh, well, go on.
Well, look, when you, say reading a book or just watching a TV show, there's a theme there that you're like, oh, that makes me personally uncomfortable because my experiences, that sort of thing. It's all about how it's handled. I mean, having something racist in it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just depends how they pull it off and what they mean.
Yeah, exactly. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia rides on that kind of derision throughout its whole entire thing by being terrible. Okay, guys, we're back.
Okay.
We're 29 minutes and 51 seconds.
Yeah, I think we're a bit behind.
We're a bit behind because Google Play, 5 stars.
It's only a multi-billion-dollar company, right?
That's what I thought of when I thought of Google Play. They own nearly everything. If they were, and this is by Disney, who does own everything. So.
And you paid for this too, Ryan.
How I pay for Krippendorf and his tribe of merry children.
If only we had that infamous DVD.
I left that in my hometown of Kasprzyszak. That's the anime version of my hometown. Okay. Can you imagine that?
I don't want to.
The hentai version of my life is he lived in Kasprzyszak. Yeah.
But the scene that we were about to watch before Google showed its multi-billion-dollar greatness was the circumcision scene.
Oh boy!
And there is something worth noting about that scene in terms of when it comes to reviews for the film.
I know about this.
You do?
Oh yeah, but do tell.
You know that one guy who we sometimes call the antagonist of the show?
Yep.
Roger Ebert?
I fucking hate Roger Ebert. Glad he's dead. Terrible man.
Surprisingly, he gave this film 2 out of 4.
That's half a rating.
Well, it's half a full rating, which...
Half an empty rating.
Which, honestly, for Roger
Depends your mood.
Yeah, this is around the part where we froze, and is it... Oh, I thought...
Calm down, Bartek. Tell us what Roger thought!
Roger,
Ebert, not any other Roger.
For films that we do on the show, we often expect him to give low ratings.
Because he's a dick.
I mean, he gave 4 out of 4 for Lakeview Terrace, but,
Yum. Lakeview.
His very first line of his review basically said that it implied that he is recommending this film based off of one scene in particular, and that is the scene we are at right now.
Yeah, he did.
Because it made him laugh uncontrollably, apparently.
And he said it in this manner where he was like, sometimes you watch a comedy that's so stupid, so dumb, so inane. But there's one moment in it where all those things combine perfectly, and it makes you roll into laughter. I have not laughed this hard at one of those moments since a bird's head was taped onto its body in Dumb and Dumber. And that made me laugh because I thought about that moment in Dumb and Dumber. And then I was like, oh man, because I read that review before myself, because I wanted to see his opinion, before I rewatched the movie, and I was like, man, I can't wait for that classic, equivalent of the birdhead scene in Krippendorf's tribe, and man, is he right. The the funniest part of this is when the kid screams. Beautiful. Oh, that was a good face. I mean, Roger even laughed. So 2 stars out of 4. Why did he not give it another 2 though?
I don't know. It just wasn't a Lakeview Terrace, Ryan.
I guess he was racist. You know, he was for blackface, and the film was saying, "See, this is us saying no by not mentioning how wrong it is."
Speaking of whiteface, not because of it has whiteface, but because like racist to white people. Lakeview Terrace, he gave that full marks. So what does that say?
It says he's a white supremacist. That's exactly it. Nailed it.
Maybe.
Glad we can slander him beyond the grave. Woo!
It's been almost a year since we did Lakeview Terrace.
It's been almost a year since Richard Dreyfuss tweeted about this film. What an emotional experience it must have been for him to have done this movie.
And then acknowledge it later.
Guys, we've talked about Dick Dreyfuss. Do we know much about Dick Dreyfuss? Do we know his filmography, and do we know the caliber of actor he really is before having had to watch this film?
I get the feeling you know him, Ryan.
Yes, I do. I've met him before in my dreams.
Ooh.
I said met him before, and then Ace looked at me like, when? You should have fucking opened with this.
Right?
Last 5 seconds of the episode. By the way, I met him.
My review. I've met Richard Dreyfuss. Bye. I talked to him about this film. He gave me some incredible answers. Bye.
He made a comment, then he's like, I'm going to tweet that.
Yeah. So, but no. So you give me the indication, no?
Probably not. He might have been in some things I saw, but I don't know that I remember him in them.
What about you, Ace?
I'm pretty much in the same boat.
So have you guys not seen Jaws?
No, I actually haven't seen Jaws.
Bartek?
Maybe a long time ago. Did you watch it yesterday, Ryan?
I watched his entire filmography, including the film Let It Ride, which is on the list, by the way, of movies. No, he's the marine biologist in Jaws. He's great. He's arrogant and pompous and naive as well. It's all beautiful. And then, obviously, you're going down Spielberg route. He's in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He has the famous scene that Homer reenacts where he's making a mountain out of mashed potato. And then he, like, points to it to his wife and goes, "This means something." And the whole entire film is leading to him meeting aliens. They've been communicating with him through potatoes. And that's and it's of the mashed kind, yeah.
Mashed kind, yeah, I should have said that.
You know, and then that's like one of Spielberg's greatest films, you know. Beautiful.
I like how he edited in like the real footage with the fake footage.
Well, that's how you make a fake film. You have to edit in reality, so that way it looks genuine. I'm a master of tomfoolery. You know.
Are you a master of tee-hee-hees, though?
Oh, everyone's a master. Everyone. Is that Stephen King? Because that guy was one of my favorite one-off characters, because he comes up to him and says, "Hey, Krippendorf," something about like he wants him to meet his kids or something, and then he's like, "I gotta go to a class," and he's like, "A class?" And then we never see him again. Like
yeah, because he's in class.
because hey, a skull cap, nice. Just casually in the background, gotta notice these things, Ace. You know, fine. That's called mise en scene.
Oh, okay.
In which the filmmakers included a fat man smoking behind them. But do you know that he's wearing his jacket over his shoulder in a way that no human ever does in real life, to indicate that he's an artist type or someone in the entertainment biz, because he's smoking a cigarette, wearing a kind of denim-y looking blue shirt with the leather jacket slung over.
Yeah, he's ready to go. He's ready to stay. Could be either either.
When I first saw
and here he is.
I thought he looked a bit like Rob Reiner.
I also thought he looked like Rob.
This guy's British though, so
Rob
he's got a
Reiner.
British accent.
Maybe he's playing Rob Reiner and he doesn't know that he's not British.
It's British Rob Reiner.
You're gonna say it's okay.
No, okay, I was agreeing because Bartek said that he was British, and in my head, every character, because it's subtitles right now, is just my voice. So it's pretty jarring.
The best part is they are your voice. You should really listen to this movie. Like, so at the moment, when Richard Dreyfuss is scowling, it's you scowling. In fact, this is a mirror. There is no film. We have just put a mirror in front of Ace, and Ace is doing a one-man show of Krippendorf.
Would you pay to see that?
I would fucking love to see that.
If you haven't seen
I
the
can't
film,
wait
yes.
for the sex scene.
No, it's gonna be wild.
It's good.
One-man sex scene?
This is a kid's film.
I mean, every night, Bartek.
Now, this film isn't afraid to push the envelope. This is a scene that says, "Hey, envelope, prepare to be pushed," because we have a young Mila Kunis in this scene. And the best part is, you said this was around the same time.
Same year that it started, I believe.
So she would have been younger than she was.
14.
She would have been younger when filming this, though, than she would have been
Yeah.
when... So the best thing about this is, let's say Mila Kunis is 13 years old.
Yeah,
Her
13.
voice has not changed.
I think it's got more gravelly and like sexy. Like,
No.
She knows what she's about now.
See, I've watched Jupiter Ascending, and she sounds the exact same as she does here in this movie. It depends what she's playing.
Yeah,
like
she
if she
doesn't
wants to
have
play
not casual
husky,
inflection.
yeah, if she wants to play sexy, she'll do that. I'm Mila Kunis. But if she's just playing Mila Kunis, she's like, it's me, Mila Kunis.
Yeah, but have you ever like put her like two of her shows next to each other and listened at the same time?
Yeah, I
You
did
gotta do
that.
that now. Prove it.
Krippendorf's Tribe and Family Guy.
Oh, this.
Yeah. Well, no, fairness to Family Guy. I mean, there she is.
Look, if anyone's seen
No.
early that 70s show, just imagine her saying, Michael, it's that voice.
Now, this is an emotional scene because the young boy has gone so much into making up the tribe that he has got a girl that's on her first menstruation and has said that in the Shalmikidmu tribe, they bathe the girl in pig's urine for days in a special hut. So he got a girl from his school that was on her first period and was going to drain the main vein of the piggy all on her face, and she was totally up for it.
And that's the entirety of her in the film, by
And
the way.
that's it.
Oh, so she was okay. Why is that pushing the envelope though?
Well, have you seen many films where Mila Kunis had a pig's penis near her face?
And you only see her face through some
You're
wires.
right, Ashton Kutcher, real life.
Whoa. No, he's a good egg.
Haha, you just got punked. He's a good egg. You're a fucking liar.
He's a good egg.
You don't like Ashton Kutcher, Ryan?
I like to. Nah, he's alright.
As an actor, but as a person, yeah.
I mean, except for when he was in Punked, he was a bit of a dick back
A
then,
bit of a
wasn't he?
punk.
Except when he was dating Demi Moore. Whatever happened to that? Like, they were like that magical couple of like the much older woman, the younger guy, and they actually beat all odds, and then they just disappeared, and then he went straight to Mila Kunis, like no in between. It's like, wow, wouldn't it have been a practical joke if Mila Kunis on the set of that 70s show was like, hey Ashton, here's the plan. I just watched a movie called Striptease last night with Demi Moore. She looks gross. You are the host of Punked, yeah? Yeah, I'm the host of Punked.
Are you saying that his relationship with Demi Moore was just a long con?
It was such a big episode of Punked. It went on for years.
It should be a movie like Punk the Movie.
It could be called Punked the Bio, in which it's like also like a biography film of Punk's existence and tricking Demi Moore into thinking that she met her one true love. Wow, that's pretty emotional.
It's kind of sad.
Well, Punked was always kind of sad, wasn't it? Like, did you never watch Punked and went like, you know what, Frankie Muniz? I agree. I would be very upset if someone scratched the fuck out of the car that I just bought with my first ever paycheck. That was an actual episode.
There's one where Elijah would like put his cigarette in a bin that he was allowed to, but then someone came out like, "Oh, you can't do that. We're gonna arrest you." He was like, "Oh, I'm so." He was like almost crying. Like, I'm so sorry.
My favorite's Justin Timberlake, where they did it to him multiple times, and like there was the one time where Justin Timberlake, all of his stuff was getting removed from his house because like he owed money or something, and his girlfriend at the time was like freaking out, and he totally accepted it. He goes, "That's the price of fame," and like he sits down he sits in the gutter, and he actually says to himself, "This is it." Like he just accepts the fact that he could be a destitute. like he just accepts like, well, my career over.
Well, you know, if anyone's
he just accepts that he won't bounce back.
yeah, if anyone's gonna make it, it's Justin Timberlake.
I mean, sexy back, right?
Got stuff taken, he brought sexy back.
Now, this is a quintessential scene as well, in which this is the inciting incident for plot B, which is Ruth Allen's journey to Papua New Guinea. Or why don't they ever say Papua New Guinea. They say New Guinea.
It's just shortening it, really.
Yeah, but Papaio.
What?
It's technically Papua, but yeah, Papua.
That was a Simpsons reference to Hank Scorpio.
Okay.
Papaio. No, you don't remember that?
No.
Classic Hank Scorpio line.
Sorry.
It's right up there with, have you ever seen a man throw away a perfectly good pair of shoes before? Yes. So, Jenna Elfman, the tallest woman in the land, might I add, bravely dares Miss Frizzle to take her magic school bus, and an innocent woman, might I add.
What's her, like, her yes woman?
It's her lover. I had one of these...
I mean, she is married to a woman in real life. But...
Yes. I looked up Lily Tomlin, and I kind of forgot how much Lily Tomlin has been in her extensive career. Yes, and when people mention funny women, she's still active as a funny woman. She's in Grace and Frankie, a show that's not personally for me. I checked out the first 4 episodes of it simply because of Lily Tomlin. Wasn't for me, but I could tell it was for the demographic of that age, of middle-aged women. So I was like, yeah, Lily Tomlin's never someone that people mention in the list of funny women that's active. Like, I always kind of like roll my eyes a little when I hear like Betty White's like one of the first 5 that people mention, because I'm like, yeah, Betty White's a funny woman and all, but like Lily Tomlin's been like, her whole career is like making extensive, dynamic, funny women, while Betty White always plays like Betty White and everything. Like, sure, Lily Tomlin always plays like a Lily Tomlin type, which is a woman who should always, like, the best way to describe Lily Tomlin, you watch her in this movie, you could watch her in an older movie, watch her in 9 to 5, watch her in Grace and Frankie. All of her characters seem like they're a woman who's just on the brink of a menopause. Like, that's always what I feel with Lily Tomlin. It's like Lily Tomlin's like having like some like midlife crisis, and she's like 24 in a movie. It's just, she's basically like if the Australian comedian Judith Lucy was a film actress. That's how I feel about Lily Tomlin. She's got that kind of cynical edge of a woman who's like way beyond her years. Like, she has the mentality of someone who's like in their late 50s.
Wasn't she in some awkward romance film with John Travolta?
Who wasn't in an awkward romance film with John Travolta?
I heard that in that film they had very similar hairstyles, so they looked kind of incesty.
Yeah, because John Travolta's hair is that of a woman. So, Jenna Elfman has many hairstyles in this. Do you miss, what's the thing she's wearing in her hair right now?
A headband?
It's a specific headband, yeah, where it makes the hair look stupid all the time.
Like, flattens part of it.
Yeah.
They've got the little teeth on them.
The teeth, the teethy ones. Because you have headbands without, like, the prominent teeth like that. Again, no, Bartek. We're gonna just call it hairpiece. Do you love her hairpiece in this?
I love hers. Sure. Looks great. I remember those big butterfly clips.
Yeah, it's because Natasha Lyonne... Fun fact, you're not listening to this with the audio. Natasha Lyonne also hasn't changed her voice. She's 14 in this movie. She sounds exactly like she does now in Orange is the New Black, and that's after her life where she's been like a heavy smoker, heavy drinker.
The actress is 14 in this film?
Yeah.
She looked older.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But she's just one, and she sounds older. Well, at least she may be 15, because her character's stated to be 13 at one point. And I'm like, fuck me, is she 13? Jesus. Because they go...
Because she'd be similar to Mila Kunis then.
Because they ask her, oh, you know how to drive? You're only 13. And she goes, Bob taught me. Like, that's how she sounds.
This is how Dad taught me.
Yeah, this is how Dad taught me. That's exactly how she says. She sounds like Selma's child, you know, from The Simpsons. Like, if you, Patty and Selma had, like, other than their little, like, if they're...
Jub.
No, they have a Chinese baby now, don't they?
What I'm saying is she sounds like Jub.
Patty did.
Patty, yeah, I can't remember.
She adopted some little Asian baby of some
It was
sort.
a Chinese baby, precisely, because the Chinese government was unhappy and had one of the best later season jokes, in my opinion, which was the woman that was stopping them revealed that her dad was like a ping pong champion and choked to death on a ping pong ball, and the very next day the Heimlich maneuver was discovered, and I just like, she says it like this gravitas, like on the very next day.
Oh, we're getting to the sex part.
The thing I can't believe about this movie so far, like the
is
thing
how
that
sexy it is.
I can't suspend my disbelief, because how did she get that monkey through customs into Papua New Guinea.
It has a passport.
She has
Well,
a...
the monkey.
You know there's animal passports, yeah?
Yeah, but like it just doesn't
She-
seem
she-
like a
Yeah.
Okay.
like a disease kind of thing.
I was just
like-
bullshitting.
There's animal passports.
Okay.
How do you think people get animals from A to B on travel?
I didn't think they'd call it a passport.
There's an animal passport.
Okay.
Fun fact, at least in Europe, there's animal passports. There was a, you know how in lots of media like Blackadder, they have that one joke party in England where it's like this mad, like in Blackadder, it's like the
third
idiot
one, I think,
standing
yeah.
at the back looking stupid party.
Yeah.
Well, there was the actual like mad raving wolf loony party, and they had like one of their members was a cat, you know, that kind of thing, and they actually were a group that are still prominent, I think, but their leader was a musician called Screaming Lord Such,
Nice.
who hung himself with those in real life those handkerchiefs that magicians pull out of their fucking sleeve, and they put through animal passports. And it made a dramatic difference on how animals can be transported overseas, because all of the logistics and paperwork before then was so tumultuous that
I can imagine.
basically only rich people or people who had the patience to do so would get their animals from A to B.
I imagine it'd be
Like
easier,
Ruth
like
Allen.
intercontinental stuff, like keep it on the plane, whereas getting that captured monkey from America to Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, but I imagine...
Yes, please.
I think she would have... Ruth
it
Allen's a
wouldn't be allowed.
meticulous woman, I think, because she was saying, hey, monkey, no more fruit. You know what that does to you. I think she's very meticulous about her monkey. Now, Hayes, the one thing that we've been dancing around that the synopsis may have not brought up is this is a family film with a sex scene in it. Now, in this
And the
sex
SH
scene,
word.
in this sexual scene here, she, throughout the entire movie, has been manipulating him, extorting him, kind of going through this rigmarole of being like, I'm profiting off your work, and now he needs money, so now he's profiting off what she's been profiting off of him, and he's gotten to the point in which he needs to make a mating ritual tape
For science.
for scientific purposes to be aired on television. He knows this. But to make a mating ritual tape, he cannot do it by himself, of course. He needs to have a partner to have sex with for scientific purposes, of course. So he brilliantly decides to make sure Jenna Elfman, who he knows has a sexual attraction to him already, gets super drunk, seduces her, manages to convince her that this shield here is for women to measure their breasts over so that they know how many pigs they're worth. Yes. Yeah. The hole in it is to grab the guy's dick, and he manages to convince her not only to have sex with him, not knowing that she's going to be recorded, but we're going to see in a second what he manages to convince her to do off-screen, might I add. I'd love to see the scene that they would have cut for this transition from her grabbing his dick to them having sex. We're just going to have to see it. Ace has his hand over the mouth, shocked.
I'm just confused by the logistics of this shield, because, like...
Well, he's very
that's
short.
not where the vulva is. Like...
No, she's grabbing...
Yeah, but then is
No,
that
but
just
with
for
her
a
hand.
handy?
Yeah. She's grabbing the hand. With the hand because she says, "Are you saying this because I've got
So it's just like a
attracted to me
handshake.
because I've got your dick in I'm holding your penis." And he's like, "Yeah!" And then it cuts from this amazing moment here. Let me slip into something more what? Comfortable. Bam. He somehow managed to convince her to paint all of her body in African, in brown black body paint and do the full ritual get up. She's drunk and he decides, I'll make this look like the tribal area, and I'm going to record this and send it off to the TV man to put on TV without her knowing.
That's how TV works. TV man.
This is super busted. Like, on so many levels.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, aside from the blackface taking advantage of her while she's drunk, also, like, taping her without her consent and then
But
publishing
hey,
it.
hey, later on, she forgives him because he sees her ass. That's actually how it goes down.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes, of course.
So this is the emotional.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of Lily Tomlin. She sees an ass as well at some point.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, Lily Tomlin's character, Ruth Allen, is trekking through the jungles, losing men, by the way. They never state that, but if you look carefully, this is really good filmmaking. She has less people traveling with her as the journey goes on, and everyone looks more and more disheveled as she gets closer and closer to the destination. Her companion has basically lost the will to live, or her mind, or both. And it just seems to be like, suddenly, like, people have died on this journey. That's what I've always got from it, because Ruth Allen's the kind of woman who's like, keep going forward. She's basically the villain from Tarzan. Clayton, yeah.
Clayton.
She's basically she's basically Clayton, like in levels of ruthless. Brian Blessed, who has one of the meanest deaths in Disney movie, might I add. Remember his death?
I haven't seen that film since maybe
through his own doings, he violently, brutally hangs himself on the vines.
Oh god,
it's pretty gruesome.
I should watch that film again.
It's okay. I could do with less Phil Collins.
Shut up.
Fun fact, Phil Collins sucks.
He made that movie.
Fun fact, Rosie O'Donnell actually made that movie.
Wasn't she a gorilla?
Yeah, she was the voice of the kid gorilla. She actually did a good job. People bag...
Jerk?
Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
People do bag that performance out, being like, it's Rosie O'Donnell. I'm like, hey, Rosie did good at that. Like, give Rosie a break.
Does she have a tooth cap on?
No, it's smear of black paint on her tooth.
She looks great. Her skin is going to be so dry, though.
No.
Yes.
No, because
underneath that face paint.
No, because he moisturized her.
Okay.
We see this later.
All right.
It looks like she's missing a tooth.
Yes, exactly.
It's because she's got like all the paint stuff on her
Yeah.
teeth and all that because they kissed and made out, and she probably sucked his dick.
Okay.
And he would have gone to the effort of putting on his dick because, you know...
Science.
Science.
I mean, covering up a lie.
Now, hey, so here you're saying, how does she find out that he recorded her? Of course, it's during the emotional scene in which she goes down to her local electronics store and there's a wall of TVs that show graphic sex and a bunch of men are wooting going, yeah, shake that booty, baby!
Because they like science.
Because they like science. And then she slaps one of them and he defends himself with probably one of the best lines of defense you could say, which was, what's up? I wasn't saying it about you. Like...
This is the worst camp movie I've ever seen.
I think this is the point where we
you haven't watched
remind...
Camp Fred.
This might be a point where we should remind our listening people, like, we're saying a lot of things that might be taken as like, oh my god, that's horrible. But remember what this show is called. This is Unappreciated Masterpieces.
Yeah, exactly.
We're still getting to why this film is one of the greatest films ever made.
Because it has one
So
of the best jokes ever made.
Don't lose hope or anything. There are many tee-hee-hees. There are many poignant moments.
There's a goat.
And there's a goat.
That gives you a hoo-ha-hee.
I think in politics, ossa.
It's what?
Ossa.
Oh, I thought you said polka. And I'm like, I love polka.
No.
So look, this journey just keeps getting better and better. There comes a point, I don't know if we're up to it, but like, the men are like speaking in their native tongue and it sounds like, ooh, something mystical is happening or something dangerous and whatever. And they don't want to go further. And she's like, what's happening?
Oh, this is the ass.
Yeah. What's happening? Why don't they want to go further? And you're expecting like animals or danger, and it's like the hill is very high, and she just like slaps them like how fucking dare you? Yeah. Speaking native language.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is it.
Yeah. I love it. What's wrong? Like this is Miss Frizzle on her own adventure outside of the class, in which she wants to. This is something I love about this movie. This is a movie in which we haven't touched on one of possibly my favorite characters, which is there's a group of academic people in this movie who spend the whole entire time either trying to disprove one another or trying to lie about something. None of them actually do work. I love movies in which she could afford the month or two off to go to Papua New Guinea and scavenge her way through just to disprove him and take her friend with. Like, man, I know anthropologists must get a lot of money, but like just a casual trip. Oh, here he is.
I also
Chief of the tribe.
I also like how she's going to all that effort when you think back to the consideration that should James Krippendorf be telling the truth, he got there with his whole family, so
Yeah.
it implies that like it wasn't that tough of a trip.
Yeah. The wife died. We don't know how.
Well, true, but in the footage she met the tribe, so she got there at least.
Now, this movie hinges on the fact that we are following an unlikable character, an anti-hero on a level. He's someone who's out and out grumpy, someone who's doing something morally wrong, but for himself. But he learns a lesson at the end of the day, and that lesson is family means all. Yeah.
Moisturize before you put on your blackface.
Yeah, grow strong, you know?
I think he's learnt that lesson because
He wears a fake beard.
there are short periods of time between him having it on and not having it on later on, and he looks, when he needs to look like this, he looks like this. When he's normal and white, he looks like he hasn't just taken off makeup.
Well, yeah. One of my favorite characters, possibly my favorite character in the film Bartek, is...
In the film Bartek.
In the film of Bartek's life, is his mama. I love his mum. Physically, of course. So, what I'm going to say about Bartek is Ruth Allen's other colleague, the male colleague that's left behind, he is without a doubt my favorite character in this movie. He has an incredible accent going on.
Yeah.
He has an incredible look in which he's wearing a three-piece suit. I mean, Ace, you love that. You love Hannibal.
I do.
This guy, when you see this guy, you could be like, yeah, I could see him playing Mads Mikkelsen, like as Hannibal.
Playing the person.
playing him
Disgusting marionette.
playing Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal, yeah. And he wears his skin.
Yeah, his accent kind of has a tinge of a bunch of different European...
It's because that man is from all of them.
Yeah.
He's like Michael Fassbender, a citizen of the world.
Talking about Mads or this guy?
What?
What do you... Who?
We're talking about a character
Okay.
that you haven't seen yet.
No, he's been...
We've seen him, but
He's been
not on
in
screen.
multiple times. But
He's
it's
a
been while.
balding man with a goatee and wears three-piece suits and a bow tie.
Before Lily Tomlin went to New Guinea, her like little trio was her, the girlfriend, and the guy friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the guy friend's the one we're talking
The
about.
fuck boy. You know, and this guy's great because one of the things I love is they have this ongoing thing. It's not a big joke. I love jokes that are really subtle or humorous moments that are really subtle that you don't even have to necessarily laugh at. You just go, I like that. That's nice. You know, it gives you a little smile. He has this ongoing thing. And the more I watch it, the more I notice it, which is he fucking despises young people. He hates them. So you have a scene of him writing on an assessment, because he's a university professor, writing on an assessment, he actually writes these days, phone up your parents to tell them that they're wasting their money, just drop out. And then puts it down, and I'm like, yes. And then later on, he comes to the kids here to try and get the Krippendorf's research papers to try and disprove about the tribe. And he goes, let me in, you know, I'm great with kids. And they just say no and close the door. And then he proceeds to storm away, screaming out how much he hates children. And then you keep seeing him from that point on, describing how much he hates kids. Like, there comes a point in which Krippendorf gets found out for being a liar, or so you think. Don't want to spoil it, you know. And, I do. He does, technically. And he storms in, like, being like, I knew it! Those kids! They were in on it! Ooh! And, like, shakes his finger.
He was talking about how they're part of the conspiracy.
Yeah, they're part of the conspiracy. Like, he's just... I think his agenda throughout the entire journey for him is not to necessarily disprove Krippendorf, but just to prove that kids are jerks. Like, that's exactly what it...
And honestly,
Steve
we're
Ruth's
not
smiling.
even up to the point where he becomes more prominent in the film.
We're
So
literally going to
that's-
get to the scene in which he becomes prominent, I think, in which... My favorite scene in the movie, which is they get the... this is the sex scene replayed for her value. Yum, yum. Ace, they have an amazing scene in which they have to get the chief in an interview on television with the famous Larry Swift, who also, my favorite character, has one of my favorite lines, which is when he finds out Krippendorf lied to him, he's like, how dare you! You made me lie to the great Larry Swift! Like, how dare you! They get the chief on the interview show, but boy oh boy, how can he be Krippendorf and the chief on the show at the same time?
What? What a
He
tricky
makes up a
situation.
great line, which is, my brother died. And he gets a colleague that he knows is against him to be him on the show. Because he knows that he can't get her on because he's pissed her off with the sex thing.
When you're saying be him, it's you
Not
make
like-
he's not disguising himself, but like standing in for him.
Standing for him to describe the Shalmikidmu. A man who has no idea about anything about the Shalmikidmu. And
He's been
plays
given
it.
notes to like read, basically.
I like how she's slowly figuring it out. Like, interesting. At what point in that... Ace, if this was you.
Yeah.
You were Jenna Elfman in this situation. And I was Richard Dreyfuss. Right?
Okay. Yep.
And you saw this in the Smacks and was like, I wasn't talking about you. If you saw this, right? You saw this program. At what point of it being shown to you would you realize that it was you?
Pretty quickly. I mean, I don't know that.
Like immediately?
Well, maybe not immediately. Maybe there's like disbelief. I'm like, that can't be me. And then, fuck.
So she did the right amount of reaction. Look at him. Here he is.
Okay.
Hannibal's younger brother.
A Chilton type.
No, it's Hannibal. He's wearing a three-piece suit.
And a bow tie.
Well, Hannibal wears just normal ties because he's lame.
That's him.
This is Hannibal's brother who went into anthropology instead of psychology. like he has intense conversations with students like Hannibal does with his patients, in which he just talks about inane metaphors for hours on end. Like in the TV show Hannibal, it's like a lot of like, you know, do you believe in God? And it's like, yeah, well, you know, God's gotta be real, right? It's like, yeah, well, yeah. And this is him, but he does it like with tribes. It's like, so, Clarissa, do you believe in tribes? Well, I think the answer is, are we all a tribe? And it's played with like the Hannibal type music where it's like that horror music, and it's like, ooh, this is gonna lead up to someone being fucking killed, and then nothing happens for an entire season.
Aren't we all Krippendorfs?
I would watch his show. Now, this is the best scene in the entire movie, in which, she comes on. She knows it's him. And then she proceeds to basically ridicule him and demean him throughout the entire interview. And it has one line of dialogue that we're watching this without sound, as mentioned. We're watching with subtitles. Subtitles do no justice, Ace. This is great. The chief, he puts on a chief voice, you know, he's like, I'm a muss, and all that.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite lines in which she's being a real dick to him, you know, saying like he's got a small penis and all this kind of stuff. And he just groans and he gives in his voice, he just goes, you bitch. And she translates that, into like a full long thing of what it means. And even Larry Swift's like, wow, all that from three syllables? Yeah, he said that all in 3 syllables. Yeah, very concise. It's one of my favorites because Richard Dreyfuss really delivers that. He's like, you, because she's doing it as well. She's doing the but that sounds like very obvious what she's saying. Well, Richard Dreyfuss, he knows exactly how to do it. He's like, he drags it out, deepens the voice. That way it sounds a bit more realistic than, you know, like, hit the fan, and all that kind of stuff. But great. I mean, do you think he's sitting there right now, Ace, thinking, I was working with Steven Spielberg. Now I'm in blackface. My career's gone up.
To be fair, most of his face isn't black.
I mean, most of it is, but... Nah, I know. His eyes and his neck are...
We don't know what's under the beard.
Well, no, it's just white.
His real facial hair, actually, but yeah.
And now he's grabbing her titty. Because if you need to silence a woman, grab the titty. Is what
He's the fuckboy now. Like, I sent nudes of you to everyone. You're mad about that? What a bitch.
For science!
Bitch, it was science. Get over it. Can you imagine all of
Like
science?
Australian, like, wog.
Yeah, bitch. Well, that's an Australian fuckboy.
It's for science, miss.
Oh, miss, it was for science.
What good irreverent humor.
Habib, I don't think an entire scientific analysis of the show Fat Pizza is really for science. Oh, come on, miss. Bobo got shot in one episode and he managed to survive. How wicked. And that's for the Australian listeners.
I was thinking more of the
All three of
culturally
them.
sensitive Summer Heights High, but yeah.
You're culturally sensitive. Not Angry Boys, in which Chris Lilly does go in full blackface.
But he was playing a rapper, so you know.
Well, that makes it okay.
yeah.
That is because Eminem doesn't exist. You can't play white rappers. Because Bartek said it was okay that he did blackface in a comedy show because he's playing a rapper, but, you know, Eminem exists. He's a white rapper. It proves that you can do a white rapper character.
Yeah, it's almost like there are heaps of, like, I don't know, Indigenous and Asian roles that, like, actors could fill.
Yeah, you know.
Wild.
I can't wait to play Ming the Merciless in Flash Gordon. I can't wait for that.
God.
What?
My partner got that as, like, a birthday present from his brother, and reading the back of it...
Have you watched it?
No, I'm never going to.
Okay, no, Ace, this is... Anyone listening, this is a true statement. If you're ever going to watch... You should... Check the DVD if it has a commentary track, because you have really not lived until you've heard Brian Blessed's commentary on Flash Gordon, because he is amazing in the movie. He's very much like Brian Blessed and Tim Curry are very similar people. In fact, that the way they talk about themselves as if they're great, because they are great. Brian Blessed's commentary for Flash Gordon is basically him being like this. Ah, look at me there! I've got such lovely legs. And talks about like how his legs have the right amount of femininity and masculine. He just goes through the whole time.
Why does your Brian Blessed voice sound so scary?
Have you not listened to Brian Blessed?
I have.
He's
it's
not very
warm.
gentle.
He sounds gentle. I feel like he'd be a good, like, bear
Have you
hug
ever
guy.
listened to Brian Blessed?
Yes,
like,
I
okay, I think
big
you.
nuts.
I am warm and gentle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, come here, you big softy.
You know what you're thinking, but this is a man who literally goes to Mount Everest to see if monsters are there.
What?
I trust him to fight them.
Did you
and
not
then
know
cuddle
that?
Me after.
He goes through expeditions to find Bigfoot, find the Yeti. Like he's gone to Mount Everest so many times to see if the Yeti's there.
He set up a camera.
He's literally Ace Rimmer from the TV show Red Dwarf as a real person. Like he just goes on adventures. Like he really is Teddy Roosevelt. Like if you shot Brian Blessed in the chest, he would just have so much pure muscle.
Why would anyone want to shoot Brian Blessed in the chest?
I think Brian Blessed is now officially the coolest person ever.
He really is. There's a comic book in which someone got submissions for illustrations and they would incorporate Brian Blessed into them. And one of them's like Santa riding his sled, and he made Brian Blessed the sled naked. And as he flies in the air, he just goes, Ripper! Like, and they write Ripper as in all caps, little caps, like all that. It's just great. But Brian Blessed is not in this movie. But Stephen Root is. And we've already gone over Stephen Root, so that's the end of his chapter.
Yeah, we've already gone through the root of that.
It's funny the second time. Would you believe it?
But you know what comedy says? Rules of three.
It's a very
Can't
blessed-
wait.
First of all, it's a very blessed joke. Second of all, the root thing was regarding our roots, not his roots.
Yeah, but that's his last name, Bartek. That's like
What?
Stephen
lie
loves
down.
lie down.
I'm
Ace.
gonna lie.
But I was like, who is your favourite character and your favourite scene?
I love that house.
That's the Brady house.
Very Prince of Bel-Air.
Fresh.
Yeah, very zesty.
Yeah. I do agree with you that the character you find to be your favourite is a pretty good character, but I don't know necessarily that he would be my favourite.
I had a pick for your favourite.
Yeah, who?
Old man who just slings insults left and right at the banquet. You remember him? There's this old bald man with a big nose, and they go up, and he's like, "Yeah, Edith, I heard that you or your sister. I heard that you or your sister died. Was it you?" Shakes his head because he's complaining that people suck up to this old rich bitch, and he's just like, "I don't." And like he sees this woman with large tits, and he leans over to her wearing like a stupidly revealing dress. He just leans over to her and goes, "Excuse me, miss. Are you a nursing mother?" And she just goes, and he's just like, Yep, nailed that one. He sits down, he just goes through his life ridiculing people.
I forgot about him. He would be a contender.
He's a contender. He could have been somebody.
Yeah, he should get his own film.
He should have been he should have been Marlon Brando instead. Yeah, he should have done the role instead of Marlon Brando. I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender. You Nelson mother.
Just in the middle of this monologue, it's like, wait, you? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Krippendorf is also pretty good, and I do like his parents-in-law.
Ah, yes, the parents-in-law, very famous. He was the grandfather in that 70s show that died in the driveway. I think he was on Kitty's side of the family as her father.
Okay.
There's an episode in which you meet him, and then he dies in their driveway, spying across, Donna's Donna's house,
Yeah.
and then he dies in the driveway, and they're like, he died, and it's really emotional for no apparent reason. It's like a comedy, and then it's like, hey, you know how comedy shows for some reason think MASH is good? Fuck you, we're gonna get MASH on this and get Mortalin. Yeah, that episode, and then the mother, the grandmother is Jack Donaghy's mother in 30 Rock, and she's a spicy meatball of an actress. She's always a bitch. Hey, talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia a lot. Mac's mum is in this movie.
Oh.
And she looks the exact same, except for she's combed her hair back and is wearing a fancy suit.
Has she been in it yet?
No, she's going to be a nurse looking after a very elderly woman who, by the way, is in every movie as the elderly lady, to the point in which I even brought it up in a Bringing Down the House episode that the old woman in that I always thought was always going to be this other old woman in this. So
Yeah.
the old woman in this plays this type of character in everything.
So that's the same actress as Bringing Down the House?
No, but I always said, man, I always thought it was her. I always thought it was this one actress,
Okay.
but that it wasn't.
Yeah.
She was also, this actress was also in Twin Peaks as old lady who has grandson who holds creamed corn. That's Twin Peaks for you. Don't need to explain anymore. Her grandson's a magician, so if that makes any sense to you, Bartek.
Cream corn, magician.
Oh, look, some more old people.
Oh, is this the guy that kisses up to
Look, more cultural appropriation. But that guy has a beard, and it's white.
He looks a bit like Sean Connery, but he's a bit fat. But
You know what they say? I play a wicked saxophone. Titties. And we never see her again. That's what I love about movies. They hire certain people for that shot. Can you imagine that, Ace? Like, can you imagine that? Just like, alright guys, we need someone with titties. Don't tell them that's what they're there for, because you can't just say, hey, we're just going to zoom on the titties and that's it. You got to make them think they're going to be like in the background more.
well, even when I was an extra and I would be called up for things, sometimes I get like a description of what they're looking for. And it's like, oh yeah, I guess that's me.
Yeah, titties. And Mac's mum is right there.
Oh, I see.
And hasn't aged. Looks the exact same, except for hair dolled up.
Here is Ryan.
Hair dolled up and wearing makeup. Here he is. Doesn't he look like a guy who would give you insults? Like, doesn't he?
Like an insult.
He
He looks like Don Rickles' meaner brother.
He also looks like the guy in like the Pixar shorts that plays chess.
Oh yeah, Gary. Or what's his
Yeah,
face?
he also looks like the turtle in Over the Hedge.
You're not wrong.
But I've also said that Rob Schneider looks like that turtle. So my point of view on that turtle dramatically shifts.
I haven't seen this film in way over 10 years.
What, this film? You're watching it now.
So I'm glad to watch it again. No, I was going to talk about Master of Disguise.
Oh, that's on the list.
When in the scene in Master of Disguise, one that I remember for some reason.
Yes,
where he's
Brent
a turtle.
Spiner is the villain. He doesn't just play Data, he plays the villain in Master of Disguise.
No. When he's in the turtle outfit.
So, yeah.
And he's going, turtle.
Iconic humor.
Does his face look older in that? Or am I
No, he's
misremembering?
just got a bald cap on, so he looks old. And got
Okay.
big glasses on, so he looks
Okay,
old.
fair enough. Again,
It's like how
haven't
Richard Dreyfuss is wearing hair in this. Nah, I'm kidding. It's actually his hair.
seen- Ryan, have you noticed that?
Oh my god, the chief, how did he get there?
And Richard Dreyfuss is right there.
Hey.
Well, it's a mirror.
It's a mirror. It's a
Smoke and
mirror.
mirrors.
Man looking in the black mirror. You know, this is what Michael Jackson's song Black and White mainly means.
Oh, stop stealing your parents' money.
Drop out now. like I just like the fact that he's got this lifelong mission to ruin children. Like, look, and here it is, the important facts.
Oh,
I set it up. They set it up, and
facts,
it's urgent. This is exactly like the film Rocky and Bullwinkle, in which that film's third act also hinged on faxes.
Yeah, that one had more so the fax machines, whereas this one
Well,
here has
Rocky
faxes.
did get faxed over.
And look, she even wrote urgent.
And she underlined stop in case he didn't know, because she knows he's a bit of an idiot. I mean, look, he's got his hat brim turned up.
what a fool.
You know what they say about university professors?
And he's
Fucking
so,
numbnuts.
And
That's what
he's
they
so
say.
enraged and, complaining
Don't
about
be
the fa-
one.
He's
Yeah.
so enraged and complaining about the fact that he lied to Larry Swift, but he didn't really say much.
Well, he wanted to hold that. No, he goes around bragging like, have you seen me? I was on the Larry Swift show. Like he's some guy. I love this character because he comes out of nowhere and he just develops as the movie goes on. And here it is.
He stood out.
It was her all along.
Wow. What
And
a twist.
watch this. This is an amazing plot reveal here. She's angry. They're going to have a little bit of a tiff. Still angry about the fact that, the sex thing happened and that he's evil, basically. But boy, oh boy, are they totally prepared for that encounter later by him just checking out her ass.
Yeah,
He
I
sees
was
her
about-
ass and then he's like,
I was about to say,
Well,
we weren't up to
well.
that part yet.
I keep getting confused at which portion of the film of them applying blackface is the
I
one.
think
They have a
it's-
few.
I think it's the third time they do it. That was
Yeah,
the
rule of
first.
threes. And here he is, the champion of the movie. And look at his face. Like, I love how he's pulling his face to be like, like, his character, him as an actor is saying, my character here is trying to be charming.
Yeah.
So this is how I'm going to do it. Like, see, like, he looks like an illustration right now. Like you see in the New Yorker, like him trying to be charming, like with his hair squiffed to the side a little bit. And like, he's the way his mouth arches.
Yeah, and his facial hair also follows.
I don't understand why they cast Mike Myers as Cat in the Hat when then this guy really could have nailed it.
with that accent.
But Michael Myers put on that.
What accent? My head accent.
Ew.
That's what's happening.
I took that sexually.
You should always take it sexually.
Well,
Take it
Ace
sleazy.
isn't listening, so Ace is applying their own accent to this man. So in Ace's mind, he could sound like a this.
Yeah, that's how my inner monologue
He
goes.
sounds basically like how I did it before, where it's like, how dare you? And it's like, how dare you make me lie to the incredible Larry Swift? And he really oscillates between that and hard German and He has like a bit of an Argentinian thing going on.
Spanishy,
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I almost want to unmute the film. For
I
a
almost
second.
want to meet the guy in real life and say, is this your real accent? And he's like, of course it is, Ryan. I am the amazing me.
No, Ryan, you asked him, he's like, nah, mate, that's not my accent.
No. I asked him, and he replies, and he's got my voice. I'm like,
And then you realise that you are him and he is you.
No, I wasn't going that level. He then rips off his face, and it's his face underneath his face, and it just keeps going in a continuous loop, and I'm just stuck there for the rest of time, hearing him going, "The great Larry Swift," ripping off his own face. And it's with my voice doing it, just like I did then.
Just a Scooby-Doo sort of thing.
This grandfather always plays the rich white pompous guy a lot. I swear that he's in everything as well. Like if you said, "Oh yeah, he was in Legally Blonde as one of the rich pompous guys," I was like, "Yeah, I'll believe you." Yeah.
Do you all hear that, guys?
Yes, I did.
Ryan said always and a lot in the same sentence.
Well, I didn't say them one after the other.
You said them very close to each other, Ryan.
Fucking Bartek. That's all I'm gonna say. Just fuck Bartek in his anus. Right there, Ace. We've got the penis sheath. Can you imagine being fucked with that penis sheath? Like how
I
am I?
don't want to.
But it's got a feather, so it would tickle.
None of that sounds appealing.
Sounds so appealing. So here's the
With
emotional.
every sentence, you're hurting my heart more and more.
You don't have a heart. So here it is. Oh, how
Oh,
smart!
maybe it was the second time.
Yeah, it's only twice because then.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yum. She has underpants that go above the belly button.
Whoa.
What kind of underpants are those?
Good ones.
Like, what's the style called? They're like shorts.
So there are boy shorts, I think, those
Are they?
type. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. She's wearing pajamas. Like, they look like something she would wear. Like, if it wasn't like, if that was like a little shirt instead of a bra, I would be convinced that she was in her pajamas right now. not like in underwear.
Okay.
Wouldn't you? I like how she's also... This is great. I'd never noticed this before. Look at the underwear. Look at the bra. She dressed for the tribal look in her underclothes. It's got that tribal feel of the colours and like the splotches and all that. Like,
it's red like leopard print, right?
yeah, she's nailing this. I bet Jenna Elfman came up with that on the day.
That.
Yeah, they did. No, they didn't, because look at this. My favorite face. Do you ever get reminded that old people look like babies? Because that's the moment in which you do. Huh? No? Old people, they don't remind you that...
Wrinkly.
Yeah, but they also remind you of babies. Don't you ever look at old people sometimes like, yeah, it's like a big
I guess
baby.
I can see what you're saying.
Also,
with, like,
have you
old
never met
men
babies? Don't they also sometimes look like old people to you?
No.
Like a fresh baby.
Like a fresh baby is the freshest thing you're gonna get.
No, but they're still like...
ripe off the vine.
No, but they're still all gooey and crinkly as well, because...
We've all been gooey and crinkly.
I'm not saying that we
I'm
haven't.
gooey and crinkly right now.
In the pants. Which is really weird if you're crinkly. Like, that's the part I'm worried about.
Don't body police me.
Her hair is really on point. Now, this is the part of the film they put their own subtitles in to explain his gibberish. Which I would have liked to see without subtitles. I want to make up my own story. He's indicating that he was making tea. He teabagged himself. Rigorous, with a rigorous amount of force. And, he accidentally swallowed the bag, but that's okay because he's now going to poop it out. That's my story. Bartek? Your interpretation of his chicken story?
He hadn't had lunch, so he threw something in his mouth and he thought it tasted like chicken.
Oh, you fucking nailed that. That was like, wow, premonition.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm very good at analysing foreign...
language, yeah.
Just foreign in general.
Aliens, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an alien.
That's why when you were talking about Klingon earlier, I was like, I'm not even going to say anything. This is just too obvious.
Oh, yeah. About that Klingon thing. There's a whole episode in which they meet an albino Klingon, and he's just a white guy. like all the Klingons have, like, if they have white actors, they don't put them in blackface. They just give them that, like, that kind of weird... They give them bronzer, so they look like yellowy brown, because, they're supposed to be, like, Mongolians originally, but then they made them more like Vikings. But then they're like, oh, fuck, we already went with the Mongolian look. Oh, well, fuck it, we're just going to continue. And then there's an episode where they meet an albino one. It's just like a white guy. Just like you and me, but with like the forehead ridge. That's it. It's like, what a weird thing to discover. But this movie discovers many things about the human condition. And I think that's the strength of the film, is it explores the human condition. The need to gain appreciation, respect, and admiration from others, the financial needs of looking after a family as a single parent, what one is willing to go to, how can we still root for someone who has gone to such depths? The movie is asking quite a lot of the audience, and I think it really gets that from the audience. I root for Krippendorf.
Yeah, it's with a lot of comedy films, you think of all the elements as just, being there. Like, oh, this character is the main character of this love story. By the way, he's an architect. He's an architect. In this film, you can have like, oh, this is the main character. By the way, he's an anthropologist. It's not so much a by the way thing, because this film really stands as a testament to the field of anthropology.
Yeah, hold on
the
to
study
that.
of humans.
Hold on to that too for a while. I'll come back later.
IMDb
Tuck that
reviews,
away.
Ryan?
Oh, we'll see.
Okay.
No, interview with Jane Goodall. Yeah, I fucking love Krippendorf. Can you imagine that? She's monkey, so... Who's a famous anthropologist? Is that an... What is...
Well, she's
a monkey.
The gorillas, right?
Gorillas. Is that... What is gorilla study called? Oh, sorry. The band Gorillas. Sorry. That's what it's called. Oh, look at him here. And why not? He really reminds me of a character that could have been in the film Clue. that's the kind of thing he could have really been. Like it would have been it could have been Colonel Mustard, or it could have been Anthropology Man. And it's like, no, to me and the great Larry Swift. And his companion is Larry Swift.
It's gonna be a good, like, cartoony, but like not too cartoony character.
There was that kids show. What was it called? Young the Tutankhamun one where
Oh, yes, yeah.
where he's a zombie, zombie Toot. What was it called? Young Toot.
No, Tuttenstein.
Tuttenstein.
Young Tuttenstein.
Tuttenstein. He could have been a villain in that. Easy peasy Japanesey. Yeah. Well, hey, it's okay. They've made a lot of fun of other races. No one's had a go at the Asian yet in this film, so I feel like I owe it.
Do you though? Like,
Don't you?
You
though?
just have to be racist as a whole, just
To
supplementing
complete the
holes that they've
cycle.
left. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, Ace. I'm
No,
not.
it's okay,
I'm not
you can do it.
groundbreaking like you talking about the wet crinkle in my pants.
You made it about my pants.
I did not. I just felt your pants,
Oh, can you?
and they were wet and
We're
crinkle.
just trying to watch this really good movie.
Yeah, you mean Fantastico?
Oh yeah, okay, sorry.
Me likey, yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
It's an unappreciated masterpiece. This film has everything going for it. But it's like, what is it about the film do you think made it not a resounding success? To the point in which even Richard Dreyfuss disowns it to a level, other than having had fun with Jenna Elfman, which if I was in this film and I had to do the stuff I did to Jenna Elfman, I'd also say I had fun if I was Richard Dreyfuss.
That was a question, by the way, audience. That whole thing right there.
Yeah. You gonna answer it, motherfucker?
Yes, of course I am. I was just pointing out how you tangentialized in a question.
This is the podcast, Bartek. You've been on for a very long time.
I know, but
Just
sometimes
accept the reality that you've been given.
believe
okay?
me, Ryan,
Like,
I've been accepting it for 84 and a half
I accept
episodes.
your bullshit too.
Yes. When I watch films for this podcast, we tend to research the same places online, like IMDb and all that. I also jump to TV tropes sometimes to see what what opinions have been thrown towards this film in terms of analyzing it.
Bartek's opinion's so strong that the film stopped.
That the
yet again.
multi-billion-dollar company Google has found
This
us
is
once
your
again.
fault, Bartek, for answering the question sufficiently.
Yes.
Oh no,
But-
we're having errors.
But surprisingly, this film did not have its own page on TV tropes.
What?
But it had an entry on a page about films with questionable morals,
I
the
love
message of
that.
the film, morals that you can extract from a film that are not necessarily good.
Oh yay, it took me back to the 29-minute mark that we were at earlier.
I think it is very hard, as modern day 2017 audience, judging old films by that same standard. So I'm not really I know why it would flop now, and I know why a lot of people wouldn't have heard about it, but I'm also not really sure why it would have flopped in its time context.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the 90s... Let's not forget, the 90s were the PC time as well. That's where it really kicked off. One of my favorite jokes in the film The World's End is when one of them, when Simon Pegg says something a bit, un-PC, and the friend Gary goes, that's not very PC of you guys. Oh, stop living in the 90s, Pete! Coming from the character living in the 80s.
But anyway, some of the points that they mentioned on that page about the morals is lying can be a fun family activity that brings you close together. And they were pointing out how Ruth Allen is trying to fight for the integrity of academic research, but she's seen as a bitch for it.
Yeah, well, she's Ruth. No, I always thought that she's seen more as just ruthless. Get it? Ruth. We are now, just for those... We are 1 hour and 27 minutes and 29 seconds. Wow.
Yeah.
That was me saying, wow.
I heard it. I was right here.
Were you there, though?
Not really. I'm
Did-
not really here.
Did you feel it in the loins?
We've got 7
Not
minutes left of the movie. Hopefully it doesn't crash again.
We could have finished it by now.
Yeah, we could have. Well,
So the movie...
Might be at the credits.
The movie's on. Yes.
There
Ruth
was-
is seen as a bit of a bitch, you say. I don't know. I just think that
Well,
she's
she's-
seen more as someone, who is just... more of an obstacle as a person.
Yeah. Well,
Like
their
you can
words-
never... Yeah.
their words, not mine, but basically she's
Fucking
seen as an
hacks.
antagonist. You're not meant to like her.
Yeah, I mean, with comedies, it's supposed to be, we're just trying to have fun. But also, it's saying that these things are things that you should find funny.
They also said, he was easily forgiven for the whole sex thing, even though she was drunk and made it public.
Yeah, well...
Easily forgiven for that.
You know what they say. Not all men.
But... very true. But, But yeah, those are all morals that you would get if you watched the film. And I think there's an inherent problem right there in that... Did many people watch this film?
No. I guess they didn't want Miss Frizzle's cinematic universe.
What? They didn't.
This is all in Miss Frizzle's
They didn't
canon.
want Miss Frizzle's cinematic universe, so they didn't go see it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Bartek. It sounds like I derailed you there. You're like, oh, well, I didn't expect that was going to be the audience backlash. Everyone's now writing in going, oh, man, I really didn't want that Miss Frizzle cinematic universe. I wanted them to set up the...
Are you foreshadowing IMDb reviews, Ryan, again?
No, I wish.
No, I'm confused.
Yes.
The tribe that they just found, is that legit?
No. So what happened was the daughter phoned up a tribe that they did know and said, hey, could you go there and pretend to be the Shalmikidmu? And they're like, totes.
Oh, yeah.
You know how they knew all the traditional customs very easily, I guess, you know, that he made up. And now he's been off the hook, and they're like, we're going to play this as a joke. Stephen Root's still not impressed, though. You're fired. He says it so sternly, like he's deadly serious. Like, that's what I love about Stephen Root. He could come into a comedy movie and play it serious.
Here's the reveal. Oh.
Here's the reveal. Man, hello. Ah, bubbles.
Sorry, audience.
Audience, never apologize to them.
No, Ryan.
They're fucking scum. Hey, look, they got a satellite thing, though. So that means, in New Guinea, the tribes have...
We made a mistake, Ryan.
Oh, you made a mistake.
Listening people.
Yeah.
Not audience.
Yeah, no, they listen. They're people. We don't want it... Or pets. Don't know. Someone might leave this on for their dog to keep them company while they're on a trip.
I was going to say something, but we've tangentialized so much that the moment's gone.
You want to say that word again for me? It's your buzzword of this episode.
Tangentialized.
Yum.
Not initiative.
Oh!
No,
that's what we call a payoff to a
2000.
setup.
That's so
Yeah,
2000.
we had the foreshadowing and then we had the payoff.
I can't wait for the foreshadowing to be concluded on the first foreshadow of the
Oh, I
episode.
can't wait.
Well, isn't it obvious? It was when he makes his tribes mamasa, whatever he says.
We never talked about the traditional hello, hamamas!
Yeah, that's it.
And that was Bartek's hello! But he didn't say it with any rhythm, so that was annoying.
Yeah, but I said it with the loud gruffness and it made you react.
I always react.
Yeah, but it made you
That's
react
my
like,
strength
whoa.
and my weakness.
It's a gift and a curse.
So if I throw an insult at
It's
you...
a national treasure.
So if I throw an insult at you, will you react?
Maybe.
Ryan, your nose isn't as good as mine.
Fucking...
You mean functionally or aesthetically?
Or initiatively.
Just subjectively.
Well, your subject is shit. So the film has ended.
Yeah.
We're going to go straight smack dab in the middle of the review. So I'm just going to go halfway through my review. Loved it. 5 stars. No. We're going to give our own reviews, ratings, and then after that we're going to read some reviews from IMDb. Some people had some tasty opinions on this movie, like we did. I'm going to go straight off the bat, as I like to do. I don't go straight on the bat. I go straight off it. I like this movie. I think you can all tell. I grew up on this movie. I am a part of the Shalmikidmu. I am its fan club president. I would have a poster of this on my wall if they made more posters of it. That's just the tragedy of a film like this. Many films during certain eras, I would say the late 90s and the mid 2000s, many comedies just got forgotten. Many comedies just got swept under the rug, Not a lot of them are looked at, and that's what this is all about. We're looking at ones that some of us haven't seen or heard of before. I was lucky enough to have seen it before, have heard of it before, and it was such a pleasure on a rewatch and to dig deep into the meanings of the film, to the minutiae, to the scenes, to the character development, the plot lines, because a filmmaker made this. They went to the extra effort. They put in visual jokes, visual elements that you may not notice until like a 5th time watching it. And that's just dedication to the craft. The performances all round are genuine. They are great. Even though Richard Dreyfuss may not think of it as a successful film, it is one of his good. It is a very good performance from him. You never feel like he's phoning it in. Everyone is in top form. Lily Tomlin, one of the greatest comedic actresses of all time, nailing it. And Stephen Root, one of the greatest character actors of all time. Wow, he just... such a dynamic performance. This is a film that I think everyone needs to give a second look at. Yes, It has a lot of questionable choices in it, but in context of what's happening, they're the right choices. If I have to give this film a rating, which I do, I really do have to give it a rating, I would give it a you bitch out of hummus.
I like hummus as well.
I said hummus.
Yeah, it's delicious. Hey, they say Walt Disney right there.
My fucking favourite Disney.
Not even trying
Take
to
that,
hide
Rory,
it.
you fucking hack. Ace, I'd like to hear a review and a rating out of your throat.
I think I've been pretty clear throughout this thing. My opinions don't necessarily gel with this movie.
Yeah, you didn't watch it. So.
I didn't get any of the audio, so I couldn't really get that aspect of it, but I thought acting-wise, they did a good job. While I'm not jazzed about the context that they were acting in, the actors were fine, the camera work was good. I'm just not a fan.
And despite that, it's still the greatest film.
It's still one of the greatest films. Unappreciated masterpiece for sure, though. You need to check it out with sound.
Okay.
Then it's going to really highlight the experience. It's like saying, hey, you know Avatar? I'm going to blind you. and then give me a review.
Look, at this current point of time, I would give it like 3 out of 10 dead lizards.
Can I talk you up to 4?
Not right now. I want to set the bar low.
Okay,
so I
okay.
wish it was sound it might go up.
Okay. I'll edit it in later that I talked you up to 10.
All right.
I talked Ace up to 10. 10. Lovely. Bartek, what do you have to
Just
say?
like, can we get a moment of Ace just saying the word yes for your editing purposes later?
Yeah.
You don't edit this.
I
not
might.
gonna matter.
One time I put effort in. I made an episode of Time Loop. It was very, very, very good of me to do that.
For the rest of the episode, we have to trick Ace into saying the word yes.
Like Mr. Burns says it in that one episode. You remember that episode where...
Yes.
Nice try.
Mr. Smith...
I love that.
Mr. Burns, you're home. Yes.
Yes.
Bartek, let's hear from you.
Edit in my yes instead.
And I'll say that's Ace. Oh,
They
yeah.
cut out this whole
Think
thing
so.
about
Can I
Simpsons.
talk you up to 10 dead lizards out of 10?
Yes.
Go, Bartek!
Yeah, woo!
Shoot us in our shamikid mood.
Chick.
Boom moo.
I was gonna instead of boom is my review.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say chick, shamikid moo.
Alright, I'll cock the gun again. Make
Shamikid moo.
sorry,
I'm over it.
this movie. No, that was a joke. This is serious now.
Playtime is over.
Krippendorf's Tribe is a film that is
That's certainly it is a film.
that is absolutely worth all of our time.
I agree.
See, Ryan agrees. I mean,
I agree.
that would be good enough for a review, but that would be the poor man's way out. This film explores a lot of concepts, and I think one of the concepts that is most prominent, and yet I found to be a bit subtle, is the idea of family. At the scene at the very end, the climactic scene...
Why are you laughing, Ace? Just because you don't have a family.
Whoa.
Jeez, they died in an unfortunate expedition to New Guinea to prove Bartek's theory wrong. And guess who was wrong? You. Go on, Bartek, I respect you.
Thanks. I made myself laugh now. No, in the climactic scene where, your favourite character has run into the room and, is making the whole he's a liar thing going on, his children defend him. At the beginning of the film, how were they towards him? They were more distant, uncaring, because he himself,
Yeah, one of them didn't even talk.
One of them didn't talk.
I hate when that happens.
It's very, very tragic. He could be considered a mute, and there's a lot of research into why children are mutes.
He whispered, so not mute.
I could go into a tangent about how I had to teach a student who was a selective mute, but I won't.
Oh, okay. Please don't. Please don't.
So you've got that contrast right... I won't. You've got that
is going so well.
This is what happens almost every episode. I try to give my review and then Ryan has to butt in and change
Because
it.
Ace was inappropriately laughing at you. And I felt you had to be defended on your honor as a virtual virgin. I mean, jeez.
I just thought it was funny that you're talking about how family was a subtle thing when he literally names his made-up tribe after his kids.
It was subtle, though, because none of the other people outside the family knew that.
Yeah, that was part of the plot.
But I'm talking about the contrast between how the children were at the beginning and at the end, and then you've got this whole plot centering around the fact that, like, you know, one person just wants the money, another person's just trying to cover their ass, and then at the very end, you get an idea of what the children were getting out of it. Like, yeah, you might have had that as well with the middle child's presentation with Mila Kunis, how he's kind of enjoying making up this whole law thing. Like, making up law is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I love the law.
There even
I am the law.
there are there are a couple of episodes of this show where we kind of like play around with law.
Yeah, and we stick by them.
Yeah, I think The X is a good example at the end when we were talking about the credits and like.
Yeah, well, you know, if you apply any kind of reality to it, that means it's true.
Yeah. And at the end, like when the youngest child actually did speak out loud,
Out loud?
Out loud.
How fucking dare he?
Out loud, he wasn't even like looking into any of the motivations that were present throughout the film. He was simply saying like, we became a happy family by working together on this like basically a project in a way. And when that happened, I had this idea of like, oh, is Richard Dreyfuss going to play off of this? How he's going to admit that this was all a ploy to cheer his kid up? But no, even then the film doesn't go
$100,000 ploy.
Yeah,
sorry, $200,000 ploy.
And if that was where the film would have gone, we would have had to like play with our suspension of disbelief a bit. Like, oh, yeah, of course these people are going to be cool with that.
But they didn't.
But they didn't. This film is full of surprises, full of subtlety, full of tee-hee-hees, and I think that it did a fantastic job.
Was it full of brouhahas?
Not really, but I think...
Was it full of hee-ho-has?
Yeah, a bit, actually.
Yeah, I noticed a couple.
Yeah?
And...
Great.
That is what I think of the film. I think that it is fantastic, absolutely worth your time, subtle, full of laughs, and that people should go out, watch it, enjoy it, love it, learn from it. It is a true staple of the field of anthropology. If I had to give this film a rating, I would have to give it an 18-episode miniseries full of tangents.
Well, Bartek, you know how you just spoke about anthropology and how it's great to the field? Well, people on IMDb also had thoughts about that. There's an 8-star review here simply just titled Anthropology Students. And it's from 2009, so quite some time after the film came out.
They've had 11 years to improve the field.
It goes as such. It's 8 stars, by the way. I think this is a great film for anthropology students. It demonstrates many of the hypocrisies that exist within academia, as well as the types of pressures that many professionals feel within the field. I also think it's a great introductory example for anthropology students regarding ethics, structures of cultures, and the nature of our own culture, how we justify normally taboo items. I show it to my introduction to anthropology students every year. They laugh, they ask questions, and they appreciate the film. I recommend it. I've used it for years in anthropology classes. I have students analyze the Sharmikadmu and come up with more cultural traits. I then follow by having them stimulate the type of cultural creations that sci-fi writers do, creating their own alien cultures. This is a fun teacher.
That's really good. Like, when this whole episode, I thought you were just going to be like, oh, this, like, is going to be like, no offense, but some kind of like dumb guy being like, oh, this film.
This is some smart person.
But this is a person who's literally like backing up what he's saying.
Well, we have someone here with a 6-star review called Unbelievable But Funny. And it was written in 1999. Ooh, near the dawn of a new millennium.
You had a year to think about it.
If this movie can be accepted as is, a comedy, it is funny. If totally unbelievable plot and situations are ignored, it can still be a laugher. A few of the better instances were Lily Tomlin? ?
She was a good instance.
A few of the better instances were Lily Tomlin in the jungle. They put a question mark after Lily Tomlin, and then in the jungle.
Was that Miss
the
Frizzle?
television interview, and the banquet sequence.
The banquet sequence?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the end of that review. They just wanted short, concise. They wanted to tell you it is a comedy.
It's good. Lily Tomlin's a good instance. There's a banquet.
Now I have some negative reviews here. It's always upsetting, but you have to go with the positives and the negatives to fully flesh out a film.
Bring it on. Come on.
Morally bankrupt anti-heroes. No star rating.
Oh god, here we go.
The movie was fun, but I couldn't help but be disappointed every time something good happened to the main characters.
Why couldn't he stop after 4 words?
Although the movie is quite clear at telling the viewer who's the good guys are, the only redeeming qualities that they possess are that you feel really, really, really sorry for the children. And, well, they dress like stereotypical good guys as well.
Because this is like a superhero film where that's a trope, right?
The moral of the film seems to be that the best way to solve all of life's problems is through lying, embezzling, stealing, backstabbing close colleagues, cover-ups, and gross falsification of research. Tut tut.
I think, yeah, that summarizes the TV tropes thing I said.
Yeah, and I have the last review here.
Oh, God.
Another negative.
That's so long.
And it's so negative. It's also got no star rating. It's called Disappointing and Disturbing. Some minor spoilers included. Whoa boy, it's written in 2000. So think about this, guys. The new year's just started and someone was like, I'm going to write a review. It's the new millennium. It's time for anything. The internet's going to be the biggest thing in the world. Disappointing and disturbing. Some minor spoilers included. That will be the title. Here it is, guys.
Does it say that'll be the title?
No. That's me saying that. Like,
sorry.
this is them on their journey. That will be the title. I'll show them all. 2000 and 2001 are going to be a great year. This review may contain spoilers, guys, in case you didn't know.
Minor spoilers, right?
No, this is just contains spoilers now. I can't see how anyone can call this a family film. There are numerous phallic references, including a creation of a circumcision scene done with 2 boys and an axe. Every character in the film is manipulative and dishonest in every way. All of the professors try to take credit for work they did not do, including the work of Krippendorf, which even he did not do. Brilliant. Like that.
Yes, it was an axe, not a pick.
I wanted to pity him for being a widower, but that issue barely came up and does not excuse his stealing thousands of dollars of grant money for his own personal use. This is in brackets. This is criminal! With an exclamation mark and everything. But to get away with it, he invents a fictitious tribe he claims to have researched with all kinds of unusual tribal practices. Falsifying research with all kinds of unusual tribal practices. Anthropological.
Correct.
I nailed it. Research and tainting information about primitive peoples in the film. This leads to more and bigger opportunities to lie about this fictitious tribe for financial gain. His out-of-control children live in squalor, and he uses them to pull off his hoax, teaching them how to lie, steal, and cheat. The whole family even steals farm animals for his stunt. They're not happy about that.
Did they steal?
They never said they stole. They just acquired them.
There was a montage where they were buying a bunch of things. So
yeah, I don't know. They stole, but it's like, this is a review. They're honest.
Yeah.
Great family values. That's the next one. Mm-hmm. And we're supposed to laugh when he is disrespectful to his deceased wife's parents when they want to put the kids, their own grandchildren might I add, into a more disciplined school environment? Then there's the annoying Jenna Elfman, who pushes her way into a life. How dare she? She pushes her way into a life and takes credit for his research. He wants nothing to do with her until she introduces him to a TV executive who wants to pay him to air films of his research. You were about to interject, Bartek?
They made a point earlier about how he didn't do this.
Yeah, but like, she's morally duplicitous because she doesn't know this, but she's trying to give him some fucking
Alright, credit for you, reviewer.
Then He uses her by secretly filming the two of them having sex dressed up as tribe members and selling the video. Then he is offered more grant money to continue his research, and she wants half of it before she even knows about the sex video. Then they get caught in the hoax, but they get away with their theft, fraud, and other criminal behavior because the one responsible person in the whole film, the one who earlier voiced a conscience about the misdeeds, his daughter, pulls off the biggest hoax of all to protect him. They get away with this nonsense and they live happily ever after. Apparently, fortunately, obtaining grant money wrestled from the hand of a benevolent elderly lady benefactor. That's just shameful, and we're supposed to pity him for being a single, though incompetent F. They just ended it there. They didn't put father. They just wrote F. They gave up. And that was the last review.
But that doesn't even, address... They're just saying, oh, she's a lady, she's dumb. Also, the sex tape, why is she so mad for, though?
My favorite thing is, I read all the reviews on IMDb, and none of them really mentioned the inappropriate use of blackface. None of them. They're all just funny. But I love it. We went into that more so than any reviewer, including Roger Ebert, didn't even mention the weird cultural stuff. So that shows you that we're ahead of the curve. Even though we love this film, we can point out things that could be a little squiffy about it.
It was, like I said,
Squiffy.
guys, it was a subtle film.
It was subtle. And you guys have been subtle listeners. I can't hear you because you're listening. And also, this is a one-way kind of road, okay? I mean, maybe if you scream loud enough, I'll hear you.
It's kind of like a reverse fork. Usually when you think of forks in the road, you're moving on a straight line, but then there are 3 points.
Yeah.
But more, it's 3 points are coming to one.
It's still a fork, it's just the other direction.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean by reverse.
I thought you meant a cutlery fork.
I thought he meant that
just
too,
turned
and I was
around.
just he eats it on the other end. He stabs it with the other end of the fork. Bartek, you look so...
Because you both interpreted it differently, and I'm like...
Yeah, we interpreted it the exact same way to what
right
you
way.
did. The fork
But then
way.
you were talking about, me eating. And I was talking
Because we're talking about, a fork that you eat with, not a fork in the road. When you said, it's like a reverse fork.
Yeah, and then I mentioned parts.
Yeah, but Bartek, what I love about you is you include pauses so brilliantly. So you're like, it's like a reverse fork. Like in a road. And you're left there what does he mean?
Because you get this moment of, take it in, ask questions,
okay.
and then you get the explanation.
Hit me again with it.
Ryan, it's like a spoon. You have the dip and you have the handle. But when you reverse it, it's not a dip. It's like a mound or a dune.
That was... wow. Wait a moment. I'm a bit confused.
Yeah?
When you say reverse it...
Reverse the fork.
No, spoon, in this case.
I was just
spoon.
talking about a normal spoon.
No, I know what you're saying. Spoon.
Yeah.
I just want to understand this.
Yeah?
When you say reverse it, so I'm holding the spoon with the scoopy part.
This is quality podcasting.
You're jealous. Okay, I want to know what you say by reverse. So I'm holding the spoon with the scoopy part pointing out like a normal person, yeah? When you say reverse, do you mean then I'm flipping it and holding the scoopy part in my palm? Or are you saying you're flipping it over so that the divot of the scoop is now facing up, down?
With the spoon, it's...
how did you say it? Because you just said,
With the spoon,
now
it's
the
the
mound
ladder.
is the dune. Okay, so
But with the fork, it was something completely different.
because
the fork was a different way of thinking about it.
Because you say reversing it, that's more just flipping it upside down. I guess it's reversing. I just thought you meant now I'm holding it the other way, like you were with what we thought you were doing with the fork. This is what Krippendorf's tribe brings out in all of us.
That's the explanation of the spoon, but remember, the fork, I was talking about paths, not the cutlery.
Well, guys, that's the amazing spoon conversation. Now we have to get on to knives. Knives Chow from Scott Pilgrim. Amazing character. Mm-hmm. He should have got with her in the end. Should have kept the original ending. Just saying. And that's the end of that podcast.
Knives are very good for cutting salami.
No. Ace, you're an amazing guest. Next time when you come on watch the movie, it'll be better.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh man, I fucking love this movie.
Maybe you should get a movie that's not only 3 out of 10 dead lizards.
This was a 10 out of 10, remember? Remember you said...
Yes.
That took you a little while.
Oh yeah, that time.
The times.
Yeah.
I've repeated several. What did I believe Ace said that this movie was definitely 10 out of 10 dead lizards. Is that not right?
Yes.
See, that was Bartek. Ace, you've been amazing, fantastic guest.
Bartek, you were a...
Bartek, you were a person that I have met before. And Ryan...
You know what? That's very similar to the birthday post you made for me last year.
Fun fact, Bartek didn't give me a birthday post this year. He just met me in person.
Yeah.
Sweet, sweet Moses. Mm-hmm. And you guys have been sweet, sweet Moses. And you know what you can do? You can part the wave and press those buttons to follow us on the media, you know? Like we have Facebook, we have YouTube, we have Podbean, iTunes. All of it's Spit and Polish Presents. You'll find us or you won't because you're lazy. You know, and that's just disappointing. You know, we have an amazing selection to look through. We have a giant back catalogue of things. You know, we're like 84 episodes, 85 or whatever. We got
84 and a half.
We've got, you know, amazing content. And, you know, we are back now. We had a little break. We didn't even mention that. We did the A-Team.
Yeah.
We took time off because that was just too much.
The bombs went off.
You know, like Liam Neeson with white hair. Whew. But we're back, and you guys have been back too, and you're amazing, fantastic, stupendous, superfluous, amazing, wonderful listening people who have always been there listening, or for the first time listening. You know, it's just been great.
You just called them superfluous.
Oh my god, a guest pointed it out.
Yeah, fun fact, I already went through this giant debate in our G-Force episode, but I've been saying that since episode 1, and no one ever pointed out. Then in G-Force, Bartek's like, you just called him stupid when I said stupendous, and he was like, but then I was like, no, you've caught me up in my life. Then I, like Scooby-Doo villain revealed everything on the table. You're the first to pay attention.
I've cracked the case.
But
Cracked
you
it.
watched the movie.
You guys, you should crack the case on remembering to be nice to each other.
And also, Ryan, you know, you complimented Ace and myself, but we didn't compliment you.
You don't need to. It's
Ryan,
secret.
I'm gonna give you a compliment that's inspired by that last review that you read.
Oh, good.
Ryan, you are a very good F